Chapter 51. A pretty powerful ability. Oh, looking at these inventories, I also want to get a devil fruit. Compared with the benefits brought by devil fruit, becoming a landlubber is not unacceptable. The members of Red Hair Pirates were chatting away. Yasop leaned against the mast, gently wiped the sniper rifle in his hand, and couldn't help but curl his lips. You idiots. This guy is just dealing with a group of weaklings. This one-sided battle has no reference at all. Any one of you could easily deal with these natives. As for Enel, I only need one shot to kill him. Lakila bit into the meat and complained. Come on, before you could target anyone, a bolt of lightning fell from the sky and struck you down. Humph, Lousy's observation hockey is not a vegetarian either. Looking at the red-faced crew members, Shanks shook his head helplessly. The Red Hair Pirates do not have a single esper, and all members are strong hockey users. Even so, in terms of actual combat, they have never been afraid of anyone. Along the way, I have defeated countless demon fruit powers. Logia is among them. More than Enel, he really cared about Blackbeard. Ha! Thunderfruit. Blackbeard looked up at the sky, his eyes shining brightly. He finally knew what he wanted. Compared to Op fruit, Qinglong fruit, this thunder fruit is undoubtedly more suitable for him. If you are facing someone with abilities, he can use the speed of lightning to instantly move to the target and activate the dark fruit ability. If faced with a strong hockey, he can also carry out long-range strikes. You can advance, attack, retreat, or kite. It can be said that you are completely invincible. Badgers asked cautiously. Captain, why did your target become thunder fruit again? That's right. This fruit is stronger than the blue dragon fruit and the op fruit. And, looking at Enel in the sky, Blackbeard's eyes showed disdain. This guy named Enel is just like Ace. He thinks he is invincible because he is Logia. It couldn't be easier to deal with people like this. Lousy needs to teach him a lesson. Badgers chuckled and said, in that case, I'm not welcome. Captain, I want the blue dragon fruit of 4 Emperors Kaido. Van Oka, I want Law's op fruit. Looking at the eager eyes of his subordinates, Blackbeard waved his hand and said energetically, don't worry, after Lousy gets the thunder fruit, you can choose the devil fruit on this list. But first we need to find Enel. Which Sky Island is this guy on? Lafitte reminded. The Straw Hat crew was there too. They must know Enel's whereabouts. Blackbeard nodded. In that case, hey kids, head to Sabaody Archipelago. Don't let Law and Straw Hat escape. In the screen. Enel has arrived. Why not elementalize? Seastone? I didn't expect that there are sea stones on Sky Island. This Enel is careless. The inability to elementalize means that we have to bear this blow firmly. In the screen. With Zoro defeated, Sky Island's game of death is also coming to an end. In addition to Enel, there are currently only 5 people present. Gonfer, Zoro, Robin, Weber, and Nami. Gonfer launched the attack first, but Enel easily dodged it. Then with a move of 20 million volts of electric discharge, he easily killed the previous generation god of Sky Island instantly. Enel didn't stop and killed Robin with another move. Zoro saw this and immediately launched an attack. But without learning hockey, any of his attacks will be in vain. After a few moves, he was stepped on by the opponent. At this time, on the side, Weber finally seized the opportunity. He rushed forward with all his strength and firmly controlled Enel. Come here and die yourself. Before he finished speaking, Enel was suddenly stunned. The confidence on his face disappeared instantly. Instead, there was a look of confusion and confusion. You, what have you done? Do you know about Seastone? Enel, I see. I can't exert myself anymore. Weber stretched out his right hand equipped with a volley shell and pressed it firmly on Enel's chest. Hey, wait. You will die if you use this. This is the land where the Sandia family has lived for generations, but it was taken away by you despicable people. As long as I can drag you to the funeral, I will have no regrets in dying. Hey, stop it, boom. The strong impact hit Enel's body firmly, penetrating all his internal organs. Enel spurted out a large mouthful of blood, rolled his eyes, and fell to the ground. After seeing this scene, there was an uproar around the world. No, did I read that correctly? Can't he transform into thunder and lightning? Why is he still getting hit? The almighty god was actually killed by a mortal? Duh. Chapter 52. Impelled down within. The prisoners gaped at the sky. They never expected. Enel, who had been invincible just now, was defeated in an instant. Crocodile didn't know what to say for a moment. Such a performance is really ugly. He didn't even bother to comment. Ace was also speechless. Although the Sandia warrior named Weber is pretty good. But looking at the new world, people with this kind of strength are everywhere like crucian carp crossing the river. Being defeated by this kind of person, Enel's poor performance is completely unworthy of Thunder Fruit, who placed third. Bullet also silently withdrew his gaze and resumed exercising on his own. Even if he eats the best fruit, he is still just a weakling. It couldn't arouse any interest in him at all. Everyone in the Big Mom Pirates looked at the sky in disbelief, their eyes full of surprise and surprise. The ant looked disappointed and said, "I thought I could see some exciting battles. Is this the end? It's really disappointing. With such a powerful observation haki, you can't even detect the sneak attack launched by the opponent? Is he an idiot?" Katakuri said in a deep voice. Activating observation haki requires staying focused and calm, and it seems this guy didn't do that well. The eldest son, Paraspero, looked disdainful. The speed is so fast that it can move almost instantaneously, and the attack is so powerful that it kills instantly. Even if all the people present combined could not be Enel's opponent. What's there to be nervous about? You just lost your sense of proportion in the face of such a level of battle? It's simply ridiculous. What a waste of such a top-notch Logia fruit. Red Hair Pirates. Yasop laughed. Did you see that? This is the difference between a rookie and an expert. He didn't even react when someone got close to him. His consciousness was extremely poor. In other words, he had no combat experience. If such a person comes to the new world, he may not survive more than 2 days. Beckman slowly exhaled a puff of smoke and commented. Even though he was on the battlefield, this guy still had the mentality of playing a game and not losing unfairly. But everyone can understand it. After all, from the moment he ate the thunder fruit, Enel had surpassed most people. With his powerful ability, any battle he encountered in the past could be ended in an instant. This time it was really careless. But then again, doesn't he know that Sea Stone can restrain people with abilities? What kind of insight can you expect from someone in a small place like that? Marineford. The Marines were talking a lot. Such a performance. Let alone Admiral. A Vice Admiral can easily kill the opponent. Vice Admiral? Why do we need Vice Admiral to deal with such a rookie? 500 fully armed Marine squadrons equipped with Sea Stone bullets and Sea Stone nets can capture him. Listening to the discussions of the sailors around him, Aokiji looked to the side with a speechless expression. Marshal Sengoku, what do you think? Sengoku shook his head slightly. This kid has been living on Sky Island and has little knowledge and experience. He didn't know that the sea stone, and armament haki in this world can restrain people with abilities. If he can receive formal training at Marine, he will definitely become the top strongman on this ocean. I can only say it's a pity. If nothing else goes wrong, the next step is to distribute the heavenly rewards, and then the second place will appear, right? Sengoku looked at the sky and thought silently. However, the scene in the sky did not disappear. Countless blue electric currents suddenly appeared on Enel's body. The area on the chest was vibrating regularly. This scene instantly attracted everyone's attention. Wait, could it be that this guy is not dead? Just the reaction force was about to kill Weber. You can imagine the power of that volley shell. Hitting the heart at close range would definitely kill him. No, something seems wrong. Could it be that he is using electric current to stimulate the heart and achieve electrocardiographic resuscitation? Can something like this be done? This guy is a thunderfruit user. Using electricity or something like that shouldn't be a big problem, right? Under everyone's surprised eyes, Enel slowly stood up from the ground. Doflamingo's eyes suddenly lit up. If you want to hit someone, you must first learn to be hit. The battlefield is changing rapidly, and no one knows whether they will be plotted. Only the person standing at the end is the real winner. Using the fruit's ability to perform first aid? Interesting, he actually knows this trick? It seems that this guy is not useless. There seems to be something in the development of the fruit's ability. Marineford. The sailors looked at the sky and didn't react for a while. Sengoku mused. Enel should not have suffered such a serious injury before. In other words, this is a skill he has just learned. Aokiji nodded slightly. It's not surprising that he pushed his limits in a life-and-death battle. It seems that Thunderfruit's abilities are more than that, but I don't know what magical abilities will appear next. Chapter 53. After making a deal with the 5 elders, Garp and his men left impelled down in a warship and headed in the direction of Blackbeard. Looking at the scene in the sky, Garp commented lightly. Cardiac resuscitation? This trick is really good, but to be honest, it's not very useful. Compared to people with Logia abilities such as Porcelino and Sakazuki, Enel is simply inferior in terms of lethality. As long as I cover my body with armament haki, I can ignore most of the opponent's attacks. In the eyes of a strong man of his level. So what if Enel could be resurrected 100 times? At most it just takes a little more time. Kaido can be called the strongest creature in the world. It is precisely because he is impeccably strong in all aspects of attack, defense, and physical fitness. And Whitebeard and Roger. Although they are not as good as the monster Kaido in terms of defense and physical strength, But one has the destructive power to destroy the world, and the other has reached the ultimate level through training on Haki. Garp shook his head, not taking Enel too seriously. To him, the next battle with the Blackbeard pirates is the top priority. Just when he thought so, Adjutant Bogart's exclamation suddenly came from beside him. Garp looked to the sky in confusion. In the screen, Enel stood on the Ark's motto, quietly looking down at the sky island below like a god. A ship that can fly? Garp was a little surprised. As far as he knows, only Golden Lion has achieved this level in history. Thunder Fruit actually has this ability? This scene also caused exclamations from people around the world. Naval Headquarters. Sengoku's expression became slightly serious. Is this guy trying to recreate Golden Lion's flying pirates? He said solemnly. If this is the case, then this Enel will be quite threatening. With the perception ability of the Heart Network, Enel's attack range reaches a terrifying hundreds of kilometers. Now we are flying in a spaceship at an altitude of 10,000 meters. Don't you just hit whoever you want? After realizing this, everyone felt a headache. Aegean Island. Vegapunk saw the clue at a glance. Using gold as a line conductor and using electrical energy to drive ships? Were the gold parts on the ship smelted using the heat energy generated by lightning? Electric energy is no stranger to the world's leading scientist. It is an economical, clean, and practical energy source that can do many things. In addition to generating heat energy, electricity and magnetism are also inseparable. If this guy can master these basic physics knowledge, he may be able to develop this Thunder Fruit to a quite terrifying level. Compared to Vegapunk, which only cares about the principles, countless people all over the world looked up at the sky and felt heart palpitations. Even if you are not there, you can still feel the terrifying aura of destruction through the sky. Enel holds a golden scepter and points to the sky. Thousands of thunders. Suddenly, the sky became overcast. Thunder fell from the sky, constantly bombarding the sky island below. The roaring sound is endless. Houses collapsed one after another and turned into countless debris. The trees were reduced to charcoal, and large swathes of primeval forests were plunged into a sea of flames. The soil keeps flying, and the rocks keep breaking. Under the bombardment of thousands of thunders, nothing can escape the ending of being destroyed into ashes. The entire sky island is crumbling. It's like a scene of world destruction. Gradually, countless rays of thunder and lightning continue to gather together, forming a dark-colored, huge electric ball. Use this lightning strike to sink the entire sky island. Listening to Enel's arrogant declaration, there was an uproar around the world. Is this true? Did I hear you correctly? He wants to destroy the entire sky island. This is the power that only gods have. Impelled down the 6th floor. Ace's eyes were dull and he murmured, "You underestimated him." What Marineford Fruit is most proud of is its powerful attack power. But his most powerful killing move, Great Flame Ring, Emperor Yin, cannot achieve such terrifying power. This is not just your own strength. More of it is perfectly integrated with the power of nature. The combination of the two can create such a terrifying scene that destroys the world. Crocodile not far away was also dumbfounded. When I was in Alabasta, he can also use the power of nature to create huge sandstorms. But despite its limitations, its power cannot be compared with it. No matter how powerful the sandstorm is, it cannot destroy a small town. If he reaches the sea, his abilities will be basically useless. Big Mom Pirates. The Charlotte family leaders looked at the sky in silence. He can destroy the island by himself. This power has completely exceeded their imagination. Even their mother, Charlotte, for Emperors Lin, there is no way to do this. Auntie's eyes were full of surprise. I didn't expect that this kid would develop the fruit's ability to this extent. Chapter 54. Red Hair Pirates. Yasopp looked at the sky, covered in cold sweat. Hey, Yasopp, what's your expression? Can't you kill him with one shot? What are you afraid of? Listening to the teasing of his companions, Yasopp felt embarrassed. Hey, stop joking. This guy almost sunk an entire island. How can I be his opponent? This kind of indiscriminate large-scale bombing was launched from hundreds of kilometers away. The island sank without anyone seeing it. What are you going to fight with? Even Beckman couldn't help but shook his head and sighed. It's really an exaggerated power, just like the god of thunder in myths and legends. No wonder he can think of himself as a god. This guy really has the confidence. Shanks nodded secretly. Straw Hat Crew was also on that sky island, and we don't know what happened next. Did they defeat Enel? Judging from the strength shown by Sanji, Zoro, and others, the Straw Hats at this time are obviously very different from the future Onigashima period. Luffy, who has not yet learned Haki, has basically no chance of defeating the god of Sky Island. The atmosphere at Marine headquarters was extremely solemn at this time. Flying Squirrel, Huashishin, Crane, and other Marine generals looked at the scene in the sky in disbelief. Even Marine Marshal Sengoku couldn't help but clenched his fists. The existence of Enel has posed a huge threat to any country and any force. As long as he wants, he can destroy an island anytime and anywhere. The key is that there is nothing you can do against him. Notify the intelligence department and immediately inquire about Enel. Crane couldn't help but cast a doubtful look. She was a little confused. At this juncture, we should do our best to find out the intelligence trends of the Whitebeard pirates and Blackbeard pirates. Why waste extra manpower caring about this Enel? Do you want to? Sengoku nodded calmly. Yes, I would like to invite Enel to join Marine. On the one hand, it is to eliminate this unstable factor and prevent him from causing greater chaos. Secondly, Sakazuki, Zephyr, and others have left Marine. If Enel can join Marine, the next battle will be more certain. Crane said doubtfully. But didn't world government recruit 2 strong men? I heard that they are about to arrive here and become Marine Admiral candidates. We are not lacking in high-end combat capabilities. Sengoku couldn't help but sigh. There are different opinions among the Marines, and not everyone agrees with Aokiji, the new Marine Marshal. Ishiao and Aramu were recruited by the world government, so they might favor the 5 elders' position in everything. Kizaru's qualifications and strength are almost as good as Aokiji's, coupled with his usual lazy style. I don't know if Aokiji can command. If you can't develop your own direct lineage, Marine may not be able to go far. Mariehua, Pangea. The 5 elders frowned slightly. This man is like a walking disaster. Such amazing power in the hands of someone like this. What an incredible devil fruit. It should be one of the top capabilities in Logia. It's best to keep this unstable and dangerous element under control. Why did Enel want to destroy Sky Island? They don't care. What they really care about is the terrifying power of the other party to destroy the world. If this guy takes this spaceship and comes to Qinghai to cause trouble, the consequences are completely unimaginable. Intelligence shows that Kaido and Charlotte Linlin just met, and I don't know what happened specifically. It's not a good thing anyway. They have been on the same boat before and seem to have a good relationship. Except for Kaido, there are Whitebeard, Blackbeard, and Luo. These guys are not economical. I didn't expect that Enel will appear now. Well, ever since this sky appeared, troubles have come one after another. No matter what, we can only deal with it as best we can, and don't let lord him down. Just when the 5 elders were sighing, the scene suddenly changed. Enel and Luffy are confronting each other. The 5 people present were stunned. Is it that straw hat boy? Why is he everywhere? Impelled down within, Ace couldn't help but cast a surprised look at Luffy beside him. Wait, you actually fought this guy? Could it be that you were the one who prevented this disaster in the end? Luffy said with a smile. I told you a long time ago, I will beat this guy away. Impossible. Crocodile immediately retorted. You have also seen the power of Thunderfruit. Your vice captain, that strong swordsman, was killed in an instant. No, don't talk about him. Not even the entire Sky Island can handle it. You don't know how to elementalize. How can you withstand Enel's lightning attack? Luffy scratched the back of his head. Really? But I don't think that lightning attack is very powerful. Duh. Chapter 55. Oh. The prisoners were stunned when they heard Luffy's words. Enel almost sunk an island. Isn't that awesome? Even Bullet, who was deep in the corridor, couldn't help but pay attention. In the picture, the 2 men were already fighting. Enel didn't say much, stretched out his right hand, and activated God's judgment. In an instant, the terrifying thunder roared in, completely engulfing Luffy. A huge hole was blasted into the rock wall in the distance. However, Luffy in the picture looked unharmed except for his clothes that were a little burnt. What's the situation? Did you avoid it? It may also be that the opponent's attack was predicted in advance. You can't see his movements at all. Enel was slightly startled when he saw this, and he was obviously a little surprised. But the next moment, his eyes darkened and he knocked on the thunder drum behind him. 60 million volts Brontosaurus. The dazzling electric light entwined together and instantly transformed into a huge thunder dragon, circling and rushing towards Luffy. Because the speed was so fast, Luffy couldn't dodge at all. In other words, there was no reaction at all. He stood firmly and endured the blow. After the lightning dissipated, Luffy stood quietly, still looking unharmed. The prisoners finally realized something was wrong and couldn't help but cast surprised glances. Still not hurt at all. How can this be? In the end, what happened? Seeing this, Enel could no longer hold back, turned into countless lightnings, and disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, the whole person suddenly appeared above Luffy's head, reaching out and aiming at the other person's head. 100 million volts discharge. Boom. The terrifying thunder light was unleashed wantonly. because the light was so intense. Just looking at it made my eyes sting. What an amazing attack. No one can resist it, right? It should be over now. After a while, the thunder gradually dissipated. Luffy looked unhappy and said, "Hey, are you done with this guy? If you want to be beaten, give me a good one." Enel opened his mouth wide, and his eyes nearly popped out. Not just him, but everyone watching was stunned. What exactly is going on? Did he hide away? How could you possibly hide from such a close distance? The Straw Hat Boy stood there and didn't move at all. There are no signs of using armament hockey. Did he survive with his physical strength? Why does it look like nothing is wrong? This sudden scene shocked the five elders. Sardin thought for a while and said with some uncertainty, "According to intelligence, Straw Hat Luffy is paramecia rubber fruit. Could it be because of this?" The other five elders frowned. Rubber insulator? Make no mistake, the heat generated by Enel's lightning can melt gold instantly. 100 million volts. How can a mere rubber withstand such terrifying power? Does this kid still have some unknown secrets hidden in his body? Everyone in Red Hair Pirates was also surprised. Hey, when did Luffy become so powerful? Even we can't take on so many attacks in a row. Is this something that a newcomer with a bounty of 300 million belly can do? Maybe he avoided it. Beckman on the side was holding a cigar and said calmly, "Didn't dodge or use armament hockey. Luffy just stood there and did nothing." Everyone was surprised. Force it. Why? Is Luffy invincible? Isn't this physical strength comparable to Kaido's? Shanks, who was silent, suddenly spoke. It's not so much invincible as it is immune to lightning attacks. Don't forget, this kid ate that fruit back then. They had snatched the legendary fruit from the world government. But due to an accident, he was accidentally eaten by Luffy. In other words, this devil fruit took the initiative to find Luffy. However, in the past 800 years, only one person has reached the level of awakening and fully exerted the true power of this fruit. Luffy, will you be the second one? Blackbeard stared intently at the sky. It seems that like Laozi's dark fruit, such a powerful thunder fruit also has a fatal flaw. Although dark fruit can cause dimensionality reduction blows to other ability users, but the disadvantage is that when suffering damage, the pain will be twice as much as others. Similarly, the almost invincible thunder fruit is useless against Straw Hat Luffy. The first time he met Luffy in Demon Valley Town, Blackbeard could vaguely sense that this kid was something special. The two of them seemed to be destined to be mortal enemies. But then, Blackbeard laughed arrogantly. Straw Hat. He's just a little kid who doesn't know what the world is. As long as he is killed, Thunderfruit's only natural enemy will no longer exist. Little ones, how long until we arrive? Fan Oka's voice came from the observation deck. Captain, we have arrived in the waters near Sabaody Archipelago. But a large number of warships appeared 20 nautical miles ahead, no less than 100 in number. Chapter 56. Blackbeard picked up the telescope and looked into the distance. His face suddenly darkened. Why are there so many warships? Has Marine already attacked those supernovas? Although the battle between Enel and Luffy continues to play in the sky, but Blackbeard had no intention of reading any more. Needless to say, the final winner must be the Straw Hat Kid. Damn it, Laozi still wants to get information about Enel from Straw Hat. Luo's Op Fruit Laozi is also bound to win. How can we let Marine succeed? Go full speed, kill them. The arrival of the Blackbeard pirates instantly attracted the attention of the warship. Attention all units. A pirate ship has been discovered. It's Blackbeard, Marshal. Teach. About to enter attack range. Fire. Give an order. Accompanied by countless dazzling firelights. Boom, boom, boom. Dense shells roared in the direction of Blackbeard and others. The black clouds almost covered the entire sky. What a small trick. Blackbeard showed disdain and calmly stretched out his right hand. Endless darkness swept forward. Marineford. There were frantic footsteps in the corridor of Marine headquarters. A piece of urgent information was sent to Marshal Marine's desk. Emergency. The Blackbeard pirates appear in the waters near Sabaody Archipelago. The fleet present and 100 pacifists suffered a devastating blow. The defense line has completely collapsed and the enemy has landed on the island. Sengoku clenched his fist silently. Has it finally appeared? Very good. Let's take this opportunity to completely eliminate Blackbeard. Just as he was about to pick up the phone on the table and issue an order, a major rushed into the office. No. Marshal Sengoku. A large fleet of the Whitebeard pirates was discovered in the waters east of the Sabaody Archipelago. They are about to land on the island. Sengoku suddenly stood up from his seat. What? Inform Kizaru immediately and rushed to the scene as quickly as possible. The crane on the side said quickly, etc. Teach betrayed Whitebeard and gave Ace to the world government. The relationship between them has long been of fire and water. Now that the two sides suddenly meet, a battle will inevitably break out. The entire Sabati archipelago will soon become a battlefield. What we need to do now is to quickly evacuate local civilians. Sengoku also reacted. Yes, this is actually a good thing for us. It's better to wait until they are both defeated, and then Marine will come forward to catch them all. Issue an emergency order, assemble the fleet, and prepare for the expedition. Also, tell Ishiao and Aramaki. If you want to gain a foothold in Marine, you must speak for yourself with military merit and strength. We don't expect them to be able to take down Whitebeard's head. At least they need to kill a few Whitebeard cadres. Otherwise, even with the guarantee of the 5 elders, I will not allow them to sit on the admiral position. A shrill siren sounded over Marineford. Tens of thousands of soldiers lined up in phalanxes and headed to the port. Countless warships raised their sails and were about to set sail. Dad, something doesn't seem right. Marco lands on the deck of the Moby D***K. The Marine fleet suddenly fell into chaos and are fleeing from here. The west side of the Sabati archipelago is completely shrouded in darkness, and I don't know what happened. But it seems to be Teach Dark Fruit's ability. Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Even Whitebeard stood up from his seat. Originally, he just wanted to gather all his subordinates in Sabati archipelago to prepare for the next battle on the top. By the way, look for the 3 supernovas Luo, Kid and Luffy, and invite them on board. Unexpectedly, there is an unexpected surprise. Whitebeard's tone was solemn. Very good. Now that I've met this traitor, let's put an end to it here. Land on the island and take Teach's head. Mariewa, Pangaea. The expressions of the 5 elders began to become serious as they listened to the reports from their subordinates. The Whitebeard pirates have arrived at the Sabati archipelago? They moved really quickly. The canopy has revealed what will happen in the future. Even if we haven't released the news of the execution, Whitebeard still knows about our plan. Impel Down is in the comm belt. All he can do is strike first and attack the Marine headquarters directly. The Marine elites from around the world have not yet fully assembled. Launching a decisive battle now may not necessarily annihilate them all. The arrow has to be fired. This is a great opportunity to kill Whitebeard and Blackbeard in one fell swoop. Sartan suddenly got up from the sofa and walked towards the door. Marine has also begun to take action. Let them handle the matter in Sabati. In addition, prepare a few CP0 agents and 100 pacifists. Everyone cast doubtful glances. What are you? I'm going to impel down. Impel down, Sartan said in a gloomy tone. Yes, the intelligence capabilities of the Revolutionary Army should not be underestimated. If Dorag takes advantage of this moment to break into Impel Down, we will be in trouble. Marine can't spare more manpower, and it can't be trusted 100%. To be on the safe side, it's better for me to personally escort Ace and Straw Hat to Mariewa. By the way, we got relevant information about Enel. This top-notch Logia fruit must be recovered into our hands. Chapter 57. On the deck of the Moby D***K. Marco, don't let Teach escape. Break the traitor's hands and feet and bring him to Lousy. I heard my father speak. Marco nodded silently and jumped into the air. Groups of green flames bloomed quietly, wrapping around the whole body in an instant. It turned into a phoenix that was completely blue and dotted with some yellow flames. The wings flapped violently, creating gusts of wind. Marco soared up to 100 meters in the air and disappeared from everyone's sight after a while. At this time, the Sabati archipelago was in chaos. Thick smoke billowed into the town, and the streets were filled with people fleeing in panic. The Blackbeard pirates walked out of the auction with countless treasure boxes on their shoulders. Captain, this trip has yielded a good harvest, almost 780 million bellies worth of treasure. Hearing Badger's laughter, Teach, who was walking at the front of the team, looked dissatisfied. Idiot. With power, what do you need? Wealth, fame, and status. The most important thing now is to find the whereabouts of those supernovas. Teach was about to say something when he suddenly felt something and couldn't help but stop. After seeing the phoenix in the sky covered in blue flames, a smile appeared on his face. Oh, Captain Marco, it's been such a long time. Traitor, pay for Sachi with your life. Marco doesn't talk nonsense either. The huge wings stretched out and fluttered into the wind, and the speed suddenly doubled. In an instant, he appeared in front of everyone in the Blackbeard pirates. Phoenix Seal. The razor-sharp claws are surrounded by blue flames, and the invisible and transparent high-level armament hockey is also wrapped around them. This strike was as fast as lightning, so fast that it even burst the air. Everyone's eyes were dazzled. and they only heard bursts of piercing screams in their ears. Coming so fast. Badgers, Fanoka, and others were suddenly startled. Before I had time to react, I felt an unparalleled impact sweeping over me. Boom. The ground cracked layer by layer, and soil kept flying. The overbearing shock wave even dented the ground within 100 meters. The smoke slowly dispersed. Blackbeard held the phoenix's claw firmly in his right hand and said in a sinister tone, "As expected of the captain of the first team, you almost killed all of Laozi's men." He ignored the other party's livid expression and instead turned to look behind him. Phantom Beast Phoenix Fruit. Although it's not on that list, it's still a pretty powerful fruit. Hey, who of you wants to eat? Everyone got up from the ground in embarrassment. Badgers patted the dust on his body, laughed loudly, and said, "Captain, didn't you agree? I want to eat Kaido's blue dragon fruit. I want Law's op fruit." Blackbeard shook his head in amusement. What a bunch of greedy guys. After all, this is a species of phantom beast that is rarer than Logia. Isn't it too wasteful to just throw it away like this? Dooku pointed at the sickly thin horse beneath him. "Captain, if no one wants it, give this phoenix fruit to Zhuang to eat." Watching everyone in front of them talking as if no one was watching, Marco was extremely angry, although I was extremely shocked by the strength Blackbeard showed. But at the moment, he couldn't think too much. Even if you can't win, you must at least hold them back and wait for everyone to arrive. But at the next moment, Marco's expression suddenly changed. A black mist enveloped him. The strength in the body keeps fading. In just a short moment, he involuntarily exited the phoenix form. Marco was shocked and angry. "You." Blackbeard shook his head in disappointment. "As a person with abilities, how dare you appear in front of Laozi with such arrogance? Didn't you see what happened to Ace? Or, you don't take Laozi seriously at all." As soon as he finished speaking, Teach clenched his right hand. The force was so strong that Marco almost choked. "Tell me, where's old man Whitebeard?" After waiting for a long time, I still didn't get the answer I wanted. A flash of anger flashed in Teach's eyes. "Huh? You won't tell me, right? Then Laozi will send you to another world. After seeing Sachi, remember to say hello to me." At this moment, a loud shout suddenly came from the distance. "Stop!" Everyone followed the sound. At some point, a group of imposing figures appeared at the end of the street. The leader, it is none other than Whitebeard Edward Newgate, known as the world's strongest man. "Teach, let go of Marco. I might consider leaving your body intact." Whitebeard strode over with a cloud cutter in hand. Behind him were Diamond, Josie, Foil, Bista, Izo, and other division captains. Teach tossed Marco aside. Badgers on the side quickly put on Seastone handcuffs. "Dad, I really didn't expect you to come here." "What? The show hasn't even started yet, and you're already eager to rescue Ace?" Whitebeard asked with a gloomy face. "You've been lurking on the lousy ship for decades just for dark fruit. If you had said you wanted it, with Sachi's personality, maybe he would have given it to you directly." Teach had a mocking look on his face. "Then what? Will I continue to be your son? After being together for so long, you don't understand what Laozi really wants. This dark fruit is just the first step towards dominating the world." As he spoke, Teach suddenly sighed. "Dad, to be honest, I was really eager to get your shock fruit, the strongest power in the world. But now, I suddenly changed my mind. There are still many powerful devil fruits in this world. Laozi doesn't want to fight you here. It doesn't matter if you go to Marineford or Impel Down. Go find trouble with Marine." Duh. Chapter 58. "Do you think I will let you go? Stop joking. After killing you, the traitor, I will naturally go to Marine to rescue Ace." Teach's eyes dropped slightly, and he sighed softly. "Really? That's really a pity. If the old emperor is not dead, how can the new king ascend the throne? Take your head and start an era belonging to Laozi." Whitebeard laughed, the muscles in his arms bulging. He exuded an extremely dangerous aura. Song Yunxia's blade was shrouded in a milky white halo. Next moment, the sword flashed. The fierce and domineering slashes were accompanied by violent vibrations and swept towards Blackbeard. Crunchy. Wherever the slash passed, the space continued to shatter. The powerful shaking force easily tears the earth apart. A huge, bottomless crack suddenly appeared. If you look down from the sky, it seems like the entire island has been split in half. Is this the strength of the strongest man in the world? It's over, we're dead. Whitebeard at his peak is simply not something we can deal with. In front of this devastating strike, everyone in the Blackbeard pirate group turned pale with fright, and their eyes were full of despair. Not even a cry could come out. Returning to peak condition? So what? Laozi also received a reward from heaven. Teach shouted angrily and punched forward with his right fist. A huge wave of darkness surged toward Whitebeard. The shocking slash that destroyed everything was swallowed up by the darkness and disappeared instantly. After seeing this, Teach secretly breathed a sigh of relief with a sneer on his face. The strongest in the world? Nothing more than that. In front of Lousy's black hole fruit, any attack is ineffective. The power of dark fruit after awakening far exceeded his imagination. Not only the power of shock fruit, but even slashes can be swallowed. Here, this guy actually blocked a full blow from Dad at his peak. The members of the Whitebeard pirates were suddenly startled, their eyes full of disbelief. In the past few decades, only Roger, the Pirate King, could compete with his father at his peak. Is it possible that this traitor's strength has reached such a terrifying level? Don't be too arrogant, Josie shouted angrily. The surface of the body instantly turns into sparkling diamonds and is covered with layers of armament hockey. In this state, even if it is bombarded by hundreds of cannons at the same time, it will remain unscathed. Josie seemed to turn into a crazy beast and rushed over unstoppably. The smoke and dust were billowing up along the way, and the sound was extremely frightening. At the same moment, Foil Sword Vista also drew two sharp blades from his waist and jumped high into the air. Rose Dance. The two swords set off a series of afterimages. Countless red rose petals fell from midair. Beneath the gorgeous appearance, there is endless murderous intent. Each petal turned into countless sharp slashes, pouring down from midair. Under the top observation hockey, Teach saw the future and saw the tragic situation when the two lost. Despite facing the stormy offensive of the two men, he just stood there quietly and commented calmly, "Good momentum, that's all." Enhanced by top armament hockey, Teach's fists turned into darkness, reflecting bursts of metallic luster in the sunlight. There are also layers of invisible but deadly emission wrapped around it. Next moment, darkness swept through, accompanied by two muffled sounds. Josie and Bista vomited blood, were knocked hundreds of meters away, and fell heavily to the ground. In front of Lousy, any fruit ability is just a joke. Great swordsman? No matter how exquisite your swordsmanship is, your movements have already been seen through by Lousy. You are too weak. Seeing the tragic situation of the two people in front of him, Teach felt extremely happy. Even the captain of the Whitebeard pirates is not his one-in-one enemy. After enduring humiliation and hardship for so many years, he has now become one of the top players in the world. No, this level is far from enough. Lousy will use his unrivaled appearance as a king to crush all the strong men in this sea. Dominate the whole world. Badgers, Finoka, and others looked at the back of their captain and swallowed secretly. Just when I was about to say a few compliments, a shadow suddenly appeared above his head. The fierce murderous intent rushed towards everyone's face and instantly penetrated everyone's psychological defenses. Everyone raised their heads with difficulty and looked up in horror. Whitebeard. I saw Whitebeard holding the cloud cutter and leaping high into the air. The vast conqueror's hockey soared into the sky like a volcanic eruption, sweeping across the entire island. Then it turned into countless red and black lightnings, wrapping around Song Yunxia's blade. With the momentum to crush everything, it fell from the sky and struck down hard. Teach's pupils shrank. At this critical moment, he had no time to think and quickly activated the power of armament hockey and the black hole fruit. Boom. Along with a loud roar, the ground shook violently. The shock wave set off swept across the entire island like a torrent. Wow. Teach's vision went dark, and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. Severe pain continued to hit him like a tide, and he almost fainted from the pain. Almost all the bones in the body were broken. There was even a huge wound on the abdomen that was so deep that the bone could be seen. He was almost cut in half by this knife. Then a big hand grabbed his head and lifted the whole person up. There seemed to be a hint of relief in Whitebeard's gloomy expression. That's it, Teach. You want to be a king? You're a little too young. Teach's nose and tears welled up at once. Holding back the severe pain, he begged, "Old Dad, I was wrong. Please spare me." Whitebeard looked sideways. When he was about to finish off the other party, suddenly there was a loud shout in the distance. "Stop!" Everyone turned to look. A burly old man was walking slowly towards this side. Although he is old, he still exudes an amazing aura of calmness and self-respect. Whitebeard's eyes darkened. Garp. Chapter 59. You can't kill him. In other words, Blackbeard can't die in your hands. I made a deal with the big guys in Marineford to trade this guy for Luffy and Ace's lives. Newgate, please give me some face. Whitebeard laughed angrily when he heard this. Garp, are you old and confused? Back in the Valley of the Gods, You witnessed with your own eyes the atrocities committed by the celestial dragons. Don't you still know who they are? Trading with those guys? How naive. If you really want to rescue Ace and Luffy, you might as well lend me the warship and fight through the Impel Down with us. Garp's eyes were gloomy, and he said coldly, "Associating with pirates? Are you insulting my justice?" Whitebeard snorted in displeasure. If it weren't for the relationship between the other party and Ace, he wouldn't bother to say a word. Don't act so sanctimonious. Don't think Lousy doesn't know that you also teamed up with Roger to kill Rocks and became a marine hero admired by the world. Garp clenched his fists and said expressionlessly, "So what? Compared to Rocks, no matter how bad world government is, at least it has brought order to the world. In that situation, I had to work with Roger." The impatience in Whitebeard's eyes became more and more obvious, and he didn't bother to argue with the other party. The tone in his mouth suddenly became cold. "Are you really going to do it? Garp, Lousy has returned to his peak form, and now you have no chance of winning. Even if Roger appears here, he can't stop Lousy from killing this traitor." Seeing that Whitebeard was about to kill Teach in his hands, Garp's eyes flashed, and his powerful and domineering aura soared into the sky, sweeping across all directions. Don't underestimate the determination of a veteran, Newgate. The moment you crush Blackbeard's head, I will crush your heart with one punch. Two conquerors' haki visible to the naked eye collided violently in midair. The vision of the White Regiment cadres on the side suddenly went dark, and there was a loud, buzzing sound in their ears. They all couldn't help but take a step back. The two people's conquerors' haki is really amazing. Although it was not directed at them, I still felt unspeakable heart palpitations. It's amazing that Conquerors is as good as Dad. Is this the spirit of marine hero Garp? Damn, I feel so uncomfortable. I feel like I'm going to die. Under the strong mental impact, Badgers, Van Oka and others, who were already seriously injured, foamed at the mouth and passed out. Whitebeard's eyes darkened and he threw the half-dead Teach aside. "No matter how much you talk, it's better to prove everything with your strength. Let me see how powerful the marine heroes of the past are still today." Garp's eyes were stern and his hair and beard were spread out. "Then, as you wish." As soon as he finished speaking, his figure disappeared instantly. The next moment, the black iron fist struck with unparalleled power. This punch was extremely fast, approaching the speed of sound. A series of roaring sounds exploded in my ears. The subsequent fist wind roared past like the earth was shattering. The powerful force instantly shook the ground to pieces, and countless cracks spread like spider webs. The two figures collided violently. Third place among the top 10 devil fruits, Logia Thunderfruit. Owner, Enel, rewards are being distributed. A solemn voice suddenly sounded in the minds of Whitebeard and Garp. The two of them had no time to care and continued to fight selflessly. At this time, it was difficult to see the two people clearly. Only the roaring explosions could be heard coming from the smoke and dust in the sky. The shock wave that destroyed the world swept everywhere, even reaching the sea 10,000 meters away. Marineford. After the emergency mobilization order was issued, Aokiji, Kizaru, and a dozen vice admirals led a fleet of 50,000 people and sailed in the direction of Sabaody Archipelago. In the marshal's office, with nothing to do, Sengoku and he started chatting without a word. 20 million volts Thunder God is really a terrifying move. I didn't expect that Straw Hat Luffy won the final victory in the end. I can only say that he is worthy of being a member of the monkey family. How can that last move, the giant golden spinner, defeat Enel in his Thor state? Perhaps the guy has reached his limit. After all, he has also launched such a devastating move as laying before. Speaking of which, I didn't expect that the reward from heaven for third place would be a complete set of industrial equipment, as well as this artificial intelligence. Do you know what this is? I don't know. You might have to ask Vegapunk. Brew. The phone on the table suddenly rang, interrupting their conversation. I'm Sengoku. An anxious voice came from the other side of the phone. Marshal Sengoku, something bad has happened. All the secretly sealed dynamite rocks have disappeared. What? What did you say? Sengoku's exclamation echoed throughout the Marine headquarters office building, attracting glances from passers-by in the corridor. No wonder he was so out of sorts. Dynamite rock is a strange rock that explodes violently whenever it comes into contact with oxygen. Just placing a few dozen of them can easily destroy an island. Because it is so dangerous, it is classified as Marine's highest-level secret. It is impossible for ordinary people to know its existence. Chapter 60. Damn it, who did it? What's the purpose of stealing those explosive rocks? Sengoku was extremely upset. The crane on the side consoled him. It's no use thinking about it now. Marine is all out this time. and there are no extra manpower. The top priority is to get rid of Blackbeard and Whitebeard as soon as possible, and then we can investigate the matter slowly and thoroughly. Sengoku took a deep breath to calm down his agitated mood. Then he picked up the phone bug on the table and connected to the on-site personnel through the intelligence department. What's the situation with the Sabaody archipelago? Is there any news? Master Marshal, Jean Mamamaru, is gathering the defeated fleet. There is no movement from the Blackbeard pirates. They are suspected to have been defeated. Vice Admiral Garp is currently fighting Whitebeard. Sengoku and he looked at each other in surprise. Is it over so soon? Isn't Blackbeard, who has received 2 heavenly rewards, a match for that man? Garp, I didn't expect that he would be the first to arrive. Sengoku thought for a moment and asked in a deep voice, how many troops does the Whitebeard pirates have on the island? Only 1 main ship found, but the pirate groups under Whitebeard are rushing there from all over the New World. The 2 secretly breathed a sigh of relief. If it's just a main ship, Garp shouldn't be a big problem. Even if they are defeated, they can at least hold on until the large army arrives. He suddenly realized something and said quickly, whether it's to support Garp or to kill Whitebeard, we have to urge Aokiji and the others to speed up. Sengoku nodded. Whitebeard has 43 pirate groups with a strength of nearly 80,000. Once they are fully reunited, things will become very difficult. As long as Whitebeard is eliminated, this huge force will collapse in an instant. Fortunately, Sabaody Archipelago is close to the Marine headquarters. Calculating the time, it should be in time. Sengoku nodded and was about to say something, but I heard a faint roar coming from the phone bug. Wait, what is that sound? Have you been discovered by Whitebeard? Marshal, please rest assured that my location is very safe on the sea 20 kilometers away from the battlefield. The phone bug paused. However, if Vice Admiral Garp and Whitebeard continue to fight like this, it will probably affect us soon. Even the entire island could sink. Garp lay on the ground with bruises all over his body, breathing heavily, his eyes full of unwillingness. He understood that the deal with 5 elders might not be completed, but by this point in the fierce battle, he had already reached his limit. Garp, you are getting old after all. Whitebeard held its own Yunchi and looked down at the opponent from a high position. The words are full of emotion. No one can stay at the top forever. No matter how powerful a person is, they will gradually age and die. Until this moment, only then did Whitebeard deeply feel how powerful the power of heaven was. The majestic vitality in his body can maintain his peak condition for at least another 100 years. Even Garp, who could compete with Roger Rocks in the past, now he is just an old man in his twilight years. Newgate, can you promise me something? You guys must save these 2. Do you still need to talk about this kind of thing? Just lie down. Whitebeard snorted softly, turned, and walked towards Teach. There was one more thing he had to do before going to impel down. He wanted to take off the traitor's head to pay homage to Sachi's spirit in heaven. But in the next moment, the sky suddenly turned red. Countless lava fell from the sky and crashed in the direction of Whitebeard. Boom, boom, boom. The ground shook violently, and black smoke billowed everywhere. As far as the eye can see, there are blazing fires and flowing lava everywhere. The air was also filled with a strong smell of sulfur and burning, which made people extremely uncomfortable. In the sea of magma and fire, a figure slowly appeared. Akainu, I didn't expect you to come too. Garp couldn't help but frown as he endured the burning heat. He also heard about the other party leaving Marine. What he didn't expect was that this guy actually got here before the Marine army. At this moment, Garp's mood was complicated. From Marine's perspective, he hopes that Akainu can kill Whitebeard and completely end the Whitebeard pirates. But from the standpoint of a relative, he also hopes that Whitebeard can defeat Akainu, seize the warship, and go to impel down. Sakazuki scanned the room. After glancing at Garp and Blackbeard, his eyes stayed on Whitebeard. Whitebeard sneered. You killed a veteran, and now there's a lava imp? What's wrong with Marine? Are you trying to stop me from killing Blackbeard? You Shichibukai, don't you need to tell Lousy more about what you will do in the future? Sakazuki said expressionlessly. Stop? Why should I stop you? I'm here for only one purpose, to kill all of you. You can help me get rid of Blackbeard, which will save me a lot of effort. Whitebeard sneered. Only you? It seems that you are tired of living. Or is it that the future shown in the sky gives you full confidence? Chapter 61. Damn it. I didn't expect another Marine Admiral to come. Dad has defeated Teach and Garp successively, and I don't know how much energy he has left. The entire battlefield was now covered in magma and flames. In this high-temperature environment of hundreds of degrees, if you wait for 1 second longer, you may be cooked. The ubiquitous billowing black smoke is even more suffocating. It's like hell. Even if the captains of the Whitebeard pirates wanted to step forward to support their father, they were unable to do so. Everyone could only stand and watch the battle from a distance with nervous expressions on their faces. Captain Bramank of the 6th Division suddenly said, "Believe me, Dad, he is the strongest man in the world. It's not a problem if we continue to stay here. Marco and Jaws are both seriously injured. Take them to the Moby D***K quickly." That's right. Dad is even stronger now than he was at his peak. He can definitely defeat this Marine Admiral. And Teach, it would be too easy for him to die in the aftermath like this. Bring this traitor back to the ship. Just when everyone was talking about it, the phone suddenly rang. The main ship was attacked by Marines. Return to the rescue quickly. 26 after a scream, the man was silent again. The only sound left in the phone bug was the fierce clash of swords and the loud shouts of fighting. Everyone was startled and turned their heads to look into the distance. Located on the coast where the ship is anchored, thick smoke is billowing at the moment. Marine unexpectedly attacked their main ship unknowingly. Are you trying to attack the east or the west? So what if we destroy Lousie's ship? The pirates under my command are constantly coming here. Whitebeard looked into the distance uneasily. A bad premonition suddenly arose in my heart. The people responsible for staying behind were all elites who had experienced hundreds of battles. I didn't expect to be killed in such a short period of time. Sakazuki said coldly, "Don't worry, you will meet soon. You alone want to kill me? You are really arrogant." Sakazuki snorted coldly. The fighting spirit in his heart continued to rise, and hot magma boiled violently on his body's surface. The two people's eyes collided in midair, and countless sparks burst out from Ping. Nice eyes, nice momentum. I didn't expect you also have Conqueror's Haki. Sakazuki didn't want to talk nonsense. The dog eats the red lotus. Punch out. The red magma with a temperature of thousands of degrees formed a huge and ferocious dog-headed monster. Opening its huge abyss-like mouth, it bared its teeth and claws to bite in the direction of Whitebeard. Whitebeard's eyes narrowed, and he also waved his right fist. The power of shock quietly erupted. The space is constantly fragmenting, instantly shattered the lava monster in front of him into pieces. After a duel, Sakazuki and Whitebeard rushed towards each other. The rolling lava is boiling violently, and the space is shaking and shattering. The fighting spread to more than 10 kilometers away. The ground was either shaken to pieces or burned by the lava and turned into coke. It is simply a restricted area of life. The people in the white group retreated towards the distance while observing the situation on the field with lingering fear. What an amazing strength. I can actually fight my dad back and forth. After all, this guy is Marine's strongest fighter. Don't worry, in the future battle at the top, even the injured dad can beat this guy to the ground and run away, let alone now. That's right, Dad is the strongest in the world. There is absolutely no way he can lose to this guy. Time passed by minute. Sakazuki's movements became slower and slower, and his expression became more and more solemn. After fighting dozens of times, the force of the countershock penetrated deeply into the body. His hands had been shaken to the point of losing consciousness, and his internal organs had also suffered considerable damage. But the other party didn't even shed a drop of sweat. If he continues to fight, he will definitely lose. The game ends here. I am not in the mood to continue playing with you. Let you have a good experience of what the real calendar is. The monstrous conqueror's haki gathered on Song Yunchi's blade like a storm, turning into countless black and red lightnings. Whitebeard shouted and slashed hard at Sakazuki. Powerful energy fluctuations distort the surrounding space. You don't need to look to know what kind of power this blow contains. Can't escape. At this critical moment, but there was no trace of panic in Sakazuki's eyes, and he still maintained a stern expression. The power of armament haki and lava fruit spurred ultimate. The whole person did not retreat but advanced, raising a huge lava fist and hitting the opponent's chest hard. Next moment, a terrifying slash as heavy as 1,000 swords swept across, cut off Sakazuki's left shoulder and arm together. The aftermath of the violent impact continued to rage, and the whole person seemed to be torn apart alive. Have you reached your limit? Sakazuki's vision went dark and he almost fainted. However, in the end, the all-out counterattack also achieved great results. The punch went straight through Whitebeard's chest. Blood, muscles, and bones are continuously burned by magma. It exudes a burning smell. Whitebeard couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood and staggered back a few steps. Looking at the huge hole in his chest, his face became extremely gloomy. Do you want to kill me at the cost of an arm? Kid, I didn't expect that I could withstand Lousie's attack and not fall down. That's a lot of willpower. But that's all over. Sakazuki gritted his teeth and held on without falling. There was a hint of mockery on his resolute and stern face. "Whitebeard, come to hell with me." Whitebeard's eyes darkened, and the ominous premonition in his heart became stronger. "What did you say?" Sakazuki stretched out his right hand, gently wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said calmly, "Long before arriving here, Zephyr separated from me and started the operation." Zephyr. So that's it. He was the one who attacked Lousie's Moby D***K. 673, that's right. I'm responsible for dealing with you, and Zephyr is responsible for cutting off your retreat. Whitebeard said disdainfully. So what? You have completely lost the ability to fight. Next, Lousie will kill Zephyr and take away your worship just like he defeated Garp. A smile appeared on Sakazuki's face for the first time in a long time. The smile of a winner. It's too late. Explosive rocks have been installed near the island. When I am defeated, the law will hide them all. 10 dynamite rocks can destroy an island and explode hundreds or thousands of them in an instant. Guess what will happen? You have lost all means of retreat. Just wait for death with me. Garp managed to get up from the ground. He had already reached his limit during the battle with Whitebeard. With scars all over his body, he was in the center of the battlefield again. He was affected by the battle between the two and suffered severe injuries. He only breathed his last. Cole. There are countless civilians on this island. Do you want to kill them too? Sakazuki remained expressionless. How can war be without sacrifice? Garp, I didn't expect you to appear here. But it's all worth it. This guy's strength is already at the top of the world. Even Kizaru and Aokiji combined are no match for him. Sakazuki turned to look at Whitebeard and said calmly, "Come to hell with me, you pirate scum." Chapter 62. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates stopped and cast a horrified look. When this guy is defeated, blow up all the dynamite rocks. Raise the entire island to the ground in an instant. Hey, are you kidding me? Lousie doesn't want to be buried with that D. Dad, leave that guy alone and get out of here. The Moby D***K was destroyed by Marine. Where can we jump to? We are all doomed. Garp's eyes were full of despair. In order to achieve your goal, you did not hesitate to blow up an entire island. You are so crazy. Faced with Garp's accusations, Sakazuki remained unmoved, his eyes extremely determined. Through the battle just now, he has deeply realized the power of Whitebeard. This man is not only the strongest in the world, and because of the reward from heaven, he gained an extra 300 years of life. If you can't deal with him here for a long time to come, maybe a century, maybe 2 centuries, this sea will be ruled by the Whitebeard pirates and completely become a paradise for pirates. Whitebeard's pupils tightened, and overwhelming anger erupted in his heart. Cole. Lousie will kill you. Song Yunxia's blade is already in front of you. Sakazuki, however, gave up all resistance and slowly closed his eyes with a sneer. Just when he was ready to face death calmly, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him, wielding a huge sea stone mechanical arm. He blocked Whitebeard's angry blow. Sakazuki opened his eyes suddenly and shouted in disbelief, "Zephyr, what are you doing here? Have you forgotten our plan?" Zephyr half knelt on the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood. A huge crack appeared on the sea stone robotic arm. Whitebeard, he really deserves his reputation. Hearing Sakazuki's question, he did not look back, but said calmly, "I have taught countless students in my life. Among so many people, Sakazuki, you are the best, bar none. Teacher is sincerely proud of you. Bins, take him out of here immediately. I will leave this place to you." The words just fell. 2 people suddenly appeared next to Sakazuki, holding him one on the left and one on the right. He used Shao to rush toward the warship. Whitebeard's angry shouts and the clash of weapons continued to come from behind. Sakazuki came back to his senses instantly and couldn't help shouting angrily, "Are you crazy? Zephyr can't be Whitebeard's opponent. Why change the plan? This is the best chance to eliminate the Whitebeard pirates." Although he was seriously injured, he was so excited that he almost broke away from the 2 people's support. Bins had no choice but to activate the power of the lush fruit and entangle the opponent. Ain said expressionlessly, "The explosive rock has been activated and will explode in 1 minute. Just be quiet if you don't want the teacher's sacrifice to be in vain." Sakazuki suddenly froze, and his face instantly darkened. What did you say?" Their eyes were filled with sadness. The scene a few minutes ago came to mind. Moby D***K. The shouts of killing gradually subsided. The deck was in a mess, stained red with blood. Weapons were scattered everywhere. Corpses of Marines and pirates are everywhere. Zephyr stood on the side of the ship, holding a telescope and silently watching the 2 men fighting fiercely on the island. AI Yin's cold voice came from behind. Teacher Zephyr, the Moby D***K has been cleared. It's time to activate the explosive rock. After waiting for a long time, Zephyr did not issue an order. Bins couldn't help but remind. Teacher, although Sakazuki is very strong, he is no match for Whitebeard. Don't miss this opportunity. Zephyr put down his telescope. The era that belongs to me has passed. This man is Marine's future. From now on, you can follow Sakazuki and fulfill our unfulfilled wishes. Boom. Deafening explosions kept ringing in my ears. A huge mushroom cloud slowly rose, covering the sky. Bursts of dull sounds came from inside the island. Waves of devastating shock waves continued to spread, sweeping to the sea dozens of kilometers away. The calm sea suddenly became rough. The strong wind carried huge waves and hit them one after another. The warship kept bumping. The solid hull made a creaking sound like grinding teeth, as if it was falling apart at any time. The marine soldiers were all curled up at this moment, hugging the mast tightly or clinging to nearby objects. Otherwise, it will fall into the sea in the next second. The cold sea water slapped on the face, but no one had time to care. They all looked into the distance in horror. In a sea of fire, the entire island fell apart and slowly sank. On the deck of a warship, Bin sobbed silently. Ain weakly held on to the railing, tears already streaming down her face. Ghost Spider, Stoloberry, and several other vice admirals also looked solemn and couldn't help but shed tears. Don't cry, Sakazuki shouted in a deep voice. As a teacher, he has taught countless outstanding students. As a warrior, he fought until the end. As a marine, he sacrificed himself for the Whitebeard pirates. Don't trample this man's final consciousness with tears. His legendary and great life deserves everyone's respect. Looking at the firelight filling the sky in the distance, Sakazuki said silently in his heart, "Goodbye, Mr. Zephyr. This guy. You are obviously about to die, yet you still say such words." Looking at Sakazuki, who fell heavily, I couldn't help but sigh. Bins also sighed. In any case, he won the recognition of the law teacher with his strength and determination. From now on, let's follow this man's footsteps and complete Teacher Zephyr's unfulfilled dream together. The ghost spider standing next to the ship suddenly said, "Wait, there's something going on." Everyone picked up their binoculars and took a look. A pirate ship rushed out of the sea of fire, and almost the entire hull was burned to coke. The pirate flag on the mast was also burned to pieces and was difficult to distinguish. The pirate group under Whitebeard? Humph, they are really loyal. Integrate the fleet and don't let any pirate go. On the deck of a dilapidated pirate ship, Whitebeard struggled to open his eyes and couldn't help but groan. He looked extremely miserable at the moment. Almost all the bones in the limbs were broken. There were scars all over his body, and there was almost no intact place. The penetrating wound on his chest continued to cause intense pain. If it weren't for the huge vitality as support, he might have died long ago. Although he survived, he would not be able to fight for a long time. Whitebeard looked at the person in front of him with complicated eyes. "Skewered, I didn't expect you to be the one who saved me. You look badly injured, and you've lost a lot of your men. It looks like this ship will sink soon. Is it worth it to save me?" Chapter 63. Dad, what are you talking about? Is it worth it? Even if it costs me my life, I will save you. Whitebeard closed his eyes silently. You must have seen what's going to happen in the future, right? Roger destroyed your pirate group and is your enemy. But I took everyone to the Marine headquarters to save your enemy's son. Not only was it unsuccessful, it also resulted in countless sacrifices. You are right to hate me. I don't blame you. Skewered clenched his fists. Yes, I did betray you in the future, but instead of blaming you, you still treat me like your son. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. How are the others doing? Skewered was stunned for a moment, then sighed. All dead. After an unspeakable silence, uncontrollable anger exploded in my heart. Whitebeard's eyes were cold, and he struggled to squeeze out a few words. Return to New World. When the injury is healed, Lousy will flatten the entire Marineford. Conqueror's entanglement, a really powerful blow. It turns out that conquerors can also be entangled. It turns out that this is Whitebeard's powerful secret 560. Obviously, while they were fighting, they secretly devoured the power of Marco and Josie. The injuries on their bodies have almost recovered. I can't exert all my strength. The sea is really disgusting. Am I going to die? Lousy's ambition, Lousy's dream, are everything over here. Teach's body continued to sink towards the depths of the seabed. Consciousness gradually disappeared. Countless memories appear in my mind like a revolving door. What a violent explosion. What happened to Sabaody Archipelago? Look there, it's human. Could this guy be Blackbeard from Seven Warlords of the Sea? If he is handed over to the world government, we the Fishmen Island. Just when he was about to lose consciousness, several voices suddenly came from the distance. It seems like the last remaining belief in survival, or perhaps the last struggle of the devil fruit in the body. Teach opened his eyes with difficulty. Hey! The news of the sinking of the Sabati archipelago was like a bombshell that instantly shocked the whole world. Marineford. Former Marine Admiral Sakazuki was seriously injured and former Marine Admiral Zephyr was killed in action. Currently, CGBC, Ghost Spider, Storoberry, Ein and others are leading warships to pursue the remaining pirates. New World. All the 42 pirate groups under Whitebeard have stopped advancing, and some of the pirate groups have begun to return. Listening to the news coming from the other side of the phone, Sengoku and he were stunned for a while. It took a long time to come back to reality. I didn't expect that the two of them could achieve this level. Still no news from Garp. We have sealed off the entire sea area, but still have not found the whereabouts of Vice Admiral Garp. Mary Ahua, Panga City. The five elders looked at the information just handed over with serious faces. Except Whitebeard's whereabouts are unknown. The bodies of Phoenix Marco, Diamond Josie, Foil Bista, and other White Regiment cadres have been found so far. It can basically declare the demise of the Whitebeard pirates. Without these main forces, the remaining pirate groups are just a piece of loose sand, so there is no need to worry about it at all. Saint Nishuro suddenly asked, "Where's Blackbeard?" According to the description of intelligence personnel at the scene, he suffered heavy injuries in the battle with Whitebeard before, and now he has been hit by such a violent explosion. He probably won't survive. Don't forget, he is demon fruit power. Even if he survives the explosion, he will be drowned sooner or later when he sinks to the bottom of the sea. In that case, there's nothing to worry about. The faces of the five elders showed relief. I didn't expect that Zephyr would choose to die together with the other party. If all Marines were like him, we wouldn't have to work so hard. Where's Garp? Who knows? It would be better if that disobedient guy died. After chatting for a while, everyone turned the topic to Satan. Calculate the time. That guy is almost impelled down, right? Ace has lost his use value. The key is Luffy. That guy Satan left so anxiously. I think he was very concerned about it. That's the legendary devil fruit after all. Don't worry. Only one person has successfully awakened in the past 800 years. That fruit has its own will. Even if Sartan personally takes action, it is unlikely to be successfully recovered. It's hard to say. The only possible variable at the moment is the Revolutionary Army. The bearded five elders said calmly, "If they dare to come, be prepared for destruction. Tell Sengoku that the Marine fleet changes course and heads for Impel Down." Bartigo, Revolutionary Army Headquarters. Dorag, Mori, Crow and others looked at the big bear in front of them and the woman beside him in disbelief. Big Bear. Ginny, am I dreaming? What on earth is going on? The big bear turned to look at Ginny beside him, with a hint of warmth in his cold mechanical eyes. Explain the ins and outs of the matter in detail. Heavenly reward. Can even the dead be resurrected? It's unbelievable. Dorag nodded. By the way, what are your plans next? Have you found Bonnie? It seems like the three of you have never really been reunited, right? Big Bear said expressionlessly. No. If we contact her rashly, it will bring endless trouble to her. Next, I'm going to. Before he finished speaking, Big Bear suddenly lost his voice. Everyone didn't know why, and followed his gaze to the sky. On the sky screen, 2 lines of large characters suddenly appeared. Second place in the top 10 devil fruits. Paramecia, Sway Fruit. Owner, Jewelry, Bonnie, inside the Polar Diver. The Heart Pirates, the Straw Hat Pirates, and several supernovas sat together, discussing how to rescue Luffy and Kid. This should be the gate of justice. Go through it, and you will come to Impel Down. Then let's start assigning tasks. Drake suddenly spoke and interrupted Luo. Are you serious? This is the largest prison in the world, Impel Down. Other supernovae chimed in. Apu shouted dissatisfied. Thank you very much for saving our lives, but there is no need for us to take such a big risk to save those 2 idiots. Hawkins silently took out 2 tarot cards. The probability of success is 5%, and the probability of failure is 95%. A few black lines appeared on Luo's forehead, and he said with an unhappy expression, "Hey, do you really have no confidence in me?" Halfway through his words, he suddenly looked towards the sky. Everyone also raised their heads, looked at the sky, and then at Bonnie who was eating and drinking. He couldn't help but uttered foul language. F***K. Chapter 64. Bonnie wiped the oil stains from his mouth and said with a strange look on his face, "Huh? Why are you all staring at me? Why do I look ugly? Or do I scare you?" I finally escaped from Marine's hands. What does it matter if I eat more? Tragafaro doesn't have any objections. Looking at the imageless big eater in front of him, everyone was stunned, and the Japanese film industry was in an uproar. Are you kidding me? You're actually in second place. Bonnie, did you eat the devil fruit, which is more powerful than the thunder fruit? Hey, there must be something wrong, right? This guy has nothing to do with being a strong person. Bonnie frowned and said angrily, Shut up. What are you talking about? Believe it or not, I will turn all of you into old men. Luo pressed his hat with his right hand and sighed helplessly. Changing someone else's age? It does sound weird. But no matter what, it cannot be connected with the word powerful. Forget it. Let's see what's special about this guy. Maybe it can make our actions go smoother. Just when everyone was talking about it, Drake, who was in the corner, suddenly had a flash of light in his eyes. Then he lowered his head and quietly put his hand into his arms. New World. Mama Queen Anthem number. Second place is Paramecia again? Isn't this strange? The dark fruit and thunder fruit that appeared before should be the pinnacle of Logia. If we only talk about development potential, Paramecia does rank first among the three series. But in terms of combat effectiveness, it still has to be Zoan. Kaido took a big gulp of wine and laughed loudly. But then again, Lin. All the members of your Big Mom Pirates are Paramecia users, but not one of them is on the list. Ha, that's really shameful. Seeing her former younger brother ridiculing her like this, the aunt suddenly looked unhappy. Although I really wanted to beat the opponent violently, I gave up after thinking about it. Not long ago, they met on the sea. He also said hello as usual. Unexpectedly, she couldn't even take one of the opponent's moves. This former trainee on Rock's pirate has grown into a monster without knowing it. His strength may have completely surpassed Rock's back then. Jewelry, Bonnie? Another unfamiliar name. It seems that he is a member of Supernova, with a reward of about 300 million belly, just a small roll. 27. Speaking of Supernova, Ant immediately thought of Sabaody Archipelago. I didn't expect Whitebeard to lose. After all, Marine should not be underestimated. Kaido smiled disdainfully. Whitebeard, known as the strongest man in the world, was killed by a mere explosion. Even if he has the reputation of being the strongest, he is still just a human being. What a pity. Originally, Lousy planned to meet this guy for a while. He didn't expect to be defeated like this. The long-awaited battle at the top will not happen. What a pity. Kaido shook his head and took a big gulp of wine. Ant, in that case, let's take over Whitebeard's territory. After killing the Red Hair Pirates, the entire new world will be ours. Land of White Earth Barudigo. Everyone in the Revolutionary Army looked at the sky in disbelief, and they didn't come back to their senses for a long time. Dolag couldn't help but murmured. If I remember correctly, Bo is only 3 years old now, right? I didn't expect that she actually ate such a powerful fruit. He couldn't figure out what kind of power this year-old fruit had. Can it be ranked above dark fruit and thunder fruit? Let's not talk about these two top-of-the-line Logias. Anyone on this list is extremely heaven-defying. At this moment, everyone suddenly felt that something was wrong with the atmosphere. The bear kept staring at the sky, exuding a terrifying aura that no strangers should enter. Everyone reacted immediately, not just because of Bonnie's identity. This second-ranked fruit alone is enough to make her a target of arrest by the world government. Everyone quickly came to the conference room and started looking through the intelligence documents. The last place where the supernovas appeared was the Sabaody Archipelago. Then Kizaru arrived there and defeated them. Then the Marine fleet surrounded the entire island. Then Blackbeard, Whitebeard, Sakazuki, and others appeared one after another. In the end, due to a big explosion, the entire island was blown into pieces and sank into the sea. Bonnie, she couldn't have been in that explosion. As soon as these words came out, the red light in Big Bear's eyes flashed violently, and the aura on his body became more and more dangerous. Everyone saw this and quickly shut their mouths. Dashiong said calmly, I'm going to find Kizaru to find out. Dorag, Ginny will be taken care of by you. Before anyone could say anything, he disappeared. The next moment, he appeared on the deck of a warship. The arrival of the bear immediately caused a commotion. As if facing a formidable enemy, the Marine soldiers raised their muskets one after another. Countless black holes were aimed at the opponent's head. At this moment, a tall figure slowly walked out of the array. Bartholomew Bear, what is your purpose here? Aokiji stared at the other person unkindly. With the lessons learned from Crocodile and Blackbeard, Marine's attitude towards 7 warlords of the sea has also become ambiguous. After all, pirates are still pirates, and they can't change their nature even if they are recruited by the world government. Now there are 50,000 elite Marines and 300 warships gathered here, heading towards Impel Down. If the opponent uses the ability of the meatball fruit to cause trouble, the consequences are simply unimaginable. Where's Kizaru? Big Bear raised his hands, pointed his palms at everyone, and asked again. Aokiji's face darkened. White frost emitted from the body surface. The deck beneath the feet instantly solidified into ice and continued to spread towards the surrounding areas. What do you want to do with him? Seeing that the other party did not answer for a long time, Aokiji couldn't help but frown. Although his side had an absolute advantage, he did not dare to be careless at all. The bear's meatball fruit ranked 7th on the list, above him. This guy also received a heavenly reward, Twisted Fate reagent. Although I don't know what it is definitely not any weaker than his absolute zero. Aokiji didn't dare to be careless in the slightest. The atmosphere on the deck was extremely solemn and breathless. Countless rays of golden light condensed into human shapes on the mast. Hey, I heard you were looking for me. Tell me where Bonnie is. Kizaru rubbed his chin with his index finger and looked up at the sky. Bonnie's battle scenes also began to appear in the sky. Bonnie, are you referring to this guy? Sorry, I've never seen him before. 0. Chapter 65. Everyone couldn't help but look at the sky. Even the tense bear and Aokiji gave up the confrontation. A battle scene between Bonnie and a group of Marines appeared on the screen. Hundreds of soldiers present, or he was turned into a kid of several years old, sitting on the ground and crying. Or he becomes an old man in his 70s or 80s, so hidden that he can't even hold a gun. Completely lost combat effectiveness. Is this what she's capable of? Turn people into children or old people? Although it's very weird, I don't see anything powerful at all. That's right. Compared with the world-destroying Logia, it's just mediocre. Can this be the second place? Aokiji and Kizaru were thoughtful. They immediately analyzed the advantages and disadvantages of Quake-Quake Fruit. If it is successfully launched and the target's age is changed, then the battle can basically be declared won. But the shortcomings are also obvious. This fruit has no lethality, nor does it increase speed, defense, etc. There are also additional weaknesses such as sea stone and sea water. In other words, if the ability user itself is not strong enough, it will be a complete side effect. Bullying some weak people is okay. But if you encounter strong people like them, let alone activating their abilities, the battle will be over without even touching them. On the other hand, Thunderfruit is in 3rd place. Although Enel itself is also weak, however, he can rely on the characteristics of the fruit to gain teleportation speed, possess ultra-long distance attack methods, and have the destructive power to destroy the island. Aokiji finally came to a conclusion. It's the icing on the cake of Devil Fruit. Kizaru also nodded slightly in agreement. The limitations are too great, and I'm afraid I can only become an assistant to others. On the Queen Mother Anthem. Is this the 2nd place? What's the use of turning others into old people and children? After a lot of effort, I touched the other person. If it were them, they would just use Batang. Wouldn't it be better to knock the opponent down cleanly? So why bother? Kaido shook his head, looking very dissatisfied. Originally, he was looking forward to seeing some top powerhouses fighting, but he ended up fighting a group of ordinary sailors? Is the fight still going back and forth? Is this a game of house? On the topic of Paramecia Devil Fruit, Ant is undoubtedly the most knowledgeable. At this moment, the scene of her previous battle with Luo suddenly came to her mind. Kaido, I advise you not to underestimate Paramecia. It would be quite troublesome if you accidentally get caught. Kaido dismissed it. Haki can block and weaken Devil Fruit's abilities. You can't help but know that. Even if Lousy stood and let her activate her abilities, it would probably have no impact at all. The ant retorted. That only means you are the strong one, not that Devil Fruit is weak. You saw it before. Facing Armament Haki's outstanding Virgo, didn't Luo use Op Fruit's ability to cut the opponent in half with a single blow? As long as Devil Fruit is developed strong enough, it can ignore Haki. Now we are talking about the strength and weakness of Devil Fruit. But of course we have to take those factors out of the equation. Kaido snorted coldly. No matter how high you say it is, this fruit of the year is nothing more than that. After thinking for a while, the ant slowly said, every Paramecia is not that simple and has many development directions. Since the fruit of Sway can affect others, I imagine it can also be used on myself to change my own age. Oh. Kaido raised his eyebrows, showing some interest. Can I always maintain my age at the peak of my 20s and 30s? If that's the case, this fruit is indeed very powerful. Any living thing will age slowly, which is an iron law of nature that cannot be violated. Hard to say. Since this fruit can be ranked 2nd, it naturally has its extraordinary features. Let's continue reading. With the help of Luo's spatial ability, The polar diver has passed through the gate of justice and arrived at the bottom of Impel Down Harbor. Hey, is this the only level? It's probably difficult to deal with even a vice admiral. Luo looked at Bonnie and thought to himself. The rest of the people also looked disappointed. The defensive force inside Impel Down is quite strong. It is said that since its establishment, only the legendary pirate Kaneko has successfully escaped from prison. Even so, a top powerhouse like this also paid the price of a pair of legs. Originally, he expected Bonnie to play a greater role, but as a result, Luo sighed, looked at everyone seriously, and said, "The more people I bring, the more energy I use up. In order to be able to cope with unexpected situations that may arise at any time, I can only take 2 people to treat me." Hawkins, Apu, and others remained silent. Even an idiot knows how dangerous this operation is. In an unspeakable silence, Zoro held the scabbard on his waist and stood up from his seat. "More people is a bad thing. I'll go with you." Sanji silently lit a cigarette. "Since you are going to save your own captain, then why should you escape? Time is precious, so hurry up and get going." Luo nodded secretly and looked at the others. "Next, I ask you to guard the polar diver. You must not attract the attention of the jailers. Once this place falls, we will completely lose our retreat, and we will all die here." Frankie, Urich, Capone Beej nodded. "We still know this. Get these 2 idiots Luffy and Kid out of here quickly." Luo stretched out his right hand and activated his ability. Room. Op Fruit's space quickly extended, covering the entire Impel Down. The next moment, the 3 people disappeared in an instant. When he reappeared, he had reached the 6th floor of Impel Down. Luo's eyes scanned the surroundings, and he breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Very good. 4.3. It seems there is no guard. At the same time, Zoro and Sanji also discovered Luffy immediately. However, the other party was completely unaware of the arrival of the 3 people, and instead looked at the sky in shock. Amid the astonished looks of the surrounding prisoners, the 3 of them quickly ran to the cell. "Luffy, hey, Zoro, Sanji, and Terraman, how come you were also arrested?" Luffy scratched his head in confusion, then pointed at the sky with an exaggerated expression. "Look, this guy can actually use my 3rd gear. Did she also eat rubber fruit like me?" Paramecia Fruit of the Year, Ability 1. Distort the future of yourself and others. Along with the narration, the battle scene between Bonnie in the form of a little girl and CP8's Alpha is playing on the sky screen. Chapter 66. Look, the stones on my face have disappeared. My illness is cured, and I can finally go out. No, you have to stay here until your 10th birthday. Alpha put his hands on his hips and refused Bonnie's request. "You lied. Vegapunk said that my disease will be cured in a year. I forbid it." The 2 quarreled and broke up. Bonnie returned to the castle angrily. Queen Mother Coney walked over quietly and lowered her voice and whispered, "Alpha and the rest of the medical team are government intelligence agents. They spilled the beans while they were drinking in town. Bonnie, your illness has actually been cured a long time ago. As for why they keep you trapped here, there must be some hidden secret that we don't know about. And I can't believe it's been all these years without a letter from Big Bear." Bonnie bit her lip, trying to hold back tears. "We've got everything ready. Let's head to the port, Bonnie. Go to the sea to find your father." Queen Mother Coney walked out with her luggage, saying she was going back to the palace. Although Alpha, who was guarding the door, was surprised, but after a brief inquiry, there was nothing strange. This is the outside world, so much dust and grass. Bonnie looked at everything around him with great freshness. Since birth, this is the first time she has left the castle. For the first time, I stood under the sun and felt freedom. It turns out that Corny's plan is to let Bonnie use his power to grow old, so as to deceive Alpha and get out of the church. After a while, Bonnie arrived at the port smoothly. The fishermen uncles have also prepared their boats and have been waiting for a long time. Bonnie stepped forward with her little feet and ran happily towards the sea. Just as the pirate ship set sail. "Stop!" A figure suddenly chased from the rear port. "Do you think you can escape from me? I've had enough of this farce. I will beat you half to death and lock you up day and night. This will make things much easier." The angry Alpha jumped out of the port and chased him from the sky through the air. The crew members were sweating profusely. "Alpha is coming after me. Damn it. Has the plan been discovered? This guy is actually flying in the sky. That's Moonwalk from one of Marine's 6 styles." Looking at the enemy getting closer and closer, Bonnie suddenly remembered what he had asked his father. "Dad, what does Nika look like?" No one knows, but it is said that his body is like rubber and he can fight wherever he wants. Amid everyone's exclamations, Bonnie jumped off the deck, raised his right fist high, turned that illusory expectation into the most real desire. Distorted Future is launched. Give me a future like Nika's. Bonnie waved his fist like a giant and slammed Alpha into the ground. See? Kaido. The fruits of Sway Sway can not only affect others, but also change yourself. She also transformed herself into the appearance of an old woman. What a perfect disguise. The ant stared at the sky tightly and murmured. Obviously, she is just a little girl of about 10 years old, but she can kill world government's CP agent in one blow. We were all wrong. The fruit of every year is not just about changing your age. It's about changing your future. This guy imagined that he would be Nika in the future, and she became Nika. Kaido's eyes were dark. He didn't pay attention to Lin Lin's words, but the word Nika echoed repeatedly in his mind. On the deck of a warship, everyone looked at the sky intently. Kizaru looked at the sky silently. I can't help but think of the happy times spent with Bears, Bonnie, Vegapunk, and others. I can't help but think of them dancing the Nika dance together. Does it become what you imagined it to be? What an amazing ability. Aokiji nodded slowly, and his expression became serious. What can be confirmed is, Bonnie has definitely never seen the so-called Nika. After all, it was a legend from 800 years ago. But she was able to transform her body into a fictional image in her mind. In other words, if she imagined that she was a giant standing tall on the sky and the earth, wouldn't she also become a giant? Imagine that you can fly. Can you fly? If that's the case, as long as you have a rich imagination, then this ability will be omnipotent. There is no doubt that this is a devil fruit with unlimited future. After sighing, Aokiji turned to look at the Gate of Justice, which was just around the corner. But it's really lucky. According to the information sent by the Sword Captain, Dear Rabbit Rear Admiral. Bonnie, Luo, these two guys at the top of the list, at this moment, together with the supernovas, we took a submarine and arrived near the Impel Down port, planning a prison robbery. You can meet them just by passing through the Gate of Justice. Aokiji thought silently, then suddenly frowned and looked at the adjutant beside him. Why did the fleet stop? Report. We have discovered the ship of one of the 5 elders, Lord Satan, the god of scientific defense. It is heading towards the fleet at the moment. The target seems to be the same as us, and it is impelled down. Holy Land Mariawa, near the ancient city sea. Look at Bonnie in the sky waving his giant arms. The 5 elders' eyes were gloomy and their expressions were extremely bad. It turns out that the supernova is her. She turned into a 20-something-year-old through the power of the Devil's 710 fruit and evaded our pursuit. Nika, you actually yearn for that kind of thing? How audacious. Although everyone was very unhappy, they were also secretly frightened. Obviously, he is just a kid under 10 years old, but he can defeat a well-trained agent so easily. The stronger your imagination, the more powerful this fruit will be, and it can even reach the point of being omnipotent. Nazho Langshing snorted coldly. This fruit is only suitable for little kids who don't know anything. As I get older, I see more and more things. The unrealistic fantasies in my mind will gradually disappear. When she completely sees the truth of the world and no longer has any illusions in her mind, this fruit will become useless. The blonde, short-haired 5 elders said solemnly. The bear's transformation has not been completely completed. There must be no accidents before he completely loses consciousness. She must be caught. The bald and bearded 5 elders sneered. Don't worry. We have received the information from Marine. Bonnie, Luo, and the supernovas have arrived at Impel Down. Currently, Satan has merged with the Marine fleet and is about to pass through the Gate of Justice. They have nowhere to run. Let this little brat Bonnie see the reality clearly and feel what despair is. Chapter 67. At this time, the 6th floor of Impel Down has become a mess. Hey, boy, I didn't expect you to sneak into here. It's really not bad, haha. Open the cell door, and Lousy will cover you when you get out. Is this rookie scared when he sees us seniors? Huh. Hey, kid, stop standing there and let us out quickly. Luo looked around. Countless prisoners whose names could not be called, but who were fierce stared at him with fiery eyes. Compared with the ranking of watching devil fruit, what they want most now is to escape from this ghost place. At the same time, Zoro and Sanji also found Kid and Ace who were imprisoned. Luo, how to get them out? This fence is very hard. I can't get over it no matter what. Don't worry, my ability can take them out of here. Just when Luo was about to use his ability, a demon-like figure suddenly appeared at the door. Inside the polar diver, Nami, Usopp, and others' eyes were dull. Bonnie-chan, how old are you this year? Bonnie took a big bite of the meat and said nonchalantly, 11 or 12. Does it matter? I can become any age I want at any time. Everyone swallowed secretly. I didn't know what to say for a moment. A little girl of about 10 years old actually dared to venture into the sea and came to the Grand Line. Became a pirate with a bounty of 320 million? Become a supernova like Luffy, Kid, and Trajafalo? Robin suddenly spoke and asked everyone's doubts. By the way, what exactly is the Nika you were talking about? Why does it look like Luffy's third gear? Nika? He is the freest guy in this sea. He can rescue enslaved people and bring laughter to the world. While everyone was chatting, Bebo's ears moved, and he showed a strange expression. Hey, did you hear any strange noises? At this time, a crew member of the Heart Pirates saw the situation outside through the periscope. Hey, something doesn't seem right about the situation. Why was the door of justice opened? Wait, there are many warships outside. Have the captain and the others been discovered? Oops, this is going to be bad. The crew of the Heart Pirates who were operating the submarine said nervously, Don't worry, we are currently 100 meters below the sea surface and will never be discovered. The captain is a user with op fruit ability. It's not easy to escape. Even if Marine comes with so many warships, there is nothing we can do. The words haven't been finished yet, boom. A hand knife struck him cleanly on the neck. Are you here already? Redecker pushed the other person away and sat on the bridge. The sudden change shocked everyone. Hey Drake, what are you doing? Are you crazy? No. This B************ D is steering the submarine up. Stop him. Hundreds of warships passed through the Gate of Justice. The scene in the sky screen also switched to Danjian Island. Seeing Bonnie holding a sharp knife and assassinating Saint Satan, the tens of thousands of Marines present were all frightened. What? That woman dared to attack Lord Five Elders. What a bunch of thugs. They must be arrested. Lord Saint Satan, the door of justice has been closed. We are about to surround this sea area. These pirates have nowhere to escape. Report. Warden Magellan has also found the intruder. On the deck of a huge battleship headed by Sartan looked at the sky gloomily. Although Bonnie also has some noble celestial dragon's blood flowing in his body. But he didn't expect that this kid would be so bold. You are such an ignorant brat. Hiding away will make you regret coming into this world. Why are you still standing there? Catch them over here. Kizaru looked at the sea and couldn't help scratching his head. As a person with abilities, it is obviously impossible for him to go into the sea. Just as he was thinking this, the calm sea suddenly began to surge. Under the surprised eyes of countless people, the polar diver slowly surfaced from the sea. Drake jumped up, came to the deck, and half knelt on the ground. Master Five Elders, Captain of Marine's Word Team, Drake reports to you. Looking at Drake, who was covered in scars, Sartan showed a trace of satisfaction on his face. Then he glanced at Aokiji and Kizaru beside him, and said in a gloomy tone, Now that the enemy has appeared, why are you still standing there? The words fell. Aokiji raised his right hand towards the distance. Absolute zero. Crunchy, extremely cold hoarfrost roared past, and the sea water instantly condensed into ice. Judging from the freezing speed, it is estimated that in the next second, the entire polar diver and the people inside will be frozen into ice sculptures. At the same time, Kizaru's entire body also turned into a golden flash of light and disappeared on the deck instantly. The Heart Pirates, Straw Hat Pirates, and Supernovas saw this scene just after they boarded the submarine. His face suddenly changed. Oops, we're surrounded. Before they could make any move, a golden light suddenly shot from a distance, converging into adult forms in the air. Kizaru put his hands in his pockets and raised his right foot. Marine Admiral. Where F*****************. Everyone's faces showed expressions of despair. Not long ago on Sabaody Archipelago, this wretched uncle brought an indelible psychological shadow to them. This time we faced not only Kizaru alone, but also another Marine Admiral Aokiji, as well as hundreds of warships. Just when Kizaru was about to kick everyone, a tall figure appeared next to him instantly. Kizaru's eyes tightened. The next moment, Xiong waved his hand and knocked Kizaru away. This scene shocked everyone present. The Marines were immediately in an uproar. Kizaru Admiral was shot away. It's the power of the meatball fruit. Damn it. Why would Shichibukai help the pirates? Is this guy crazy? Bo, Qianli Zhao. And I looked at the majestic figure in front of her with tears in her eyes. She had a lot to say, but she couldn't say it. Thousands of words in my heart finally turned into 2 words. Dad. Xiong looked at the daughter in front of him steadily. A bright smile appeared on the mechanical cold face. Bonnie, long time no see. He wanted to stretch out his arms and hug each other, but his body refused to obey. The biting white frost continues to spread. In just a short moment, the big bear stopped moving completely and turned into an ice sculpture. Bonnie moved his lips, but no sound came out. The rest of the people's eyes were dull, because their brains had stopped thinking. The glimmer of hope that was finally raised was shattered in an instant or there was only deep despair left in their hearts. At this time, a solemn and solemn voice suddenly sounded in everyone's mind. Second place in the top 10 devil fruits. Paramecia, sway fruit. Owner, jewelry. Bonnie, rewards are being distributed. Chapter 68. Second place in the top 10 devil fruits. Paramecia, sway fruit. Owner, jewelry. Bonnie, rewards are being distributed. Rewards for images from all over the world. At this moment, time seemed to stand still. The surrounding scenery changes instantly. Bonnie was surprised to find that she was in a devastated ruins. Debris from houses, injured people, and corpses were everywhere. The loud noises in the distance attracted her attention. A huge monster with several tails and a red body was fighting an enemy wearing a red cloud and black robe. The battle between the two sides was extremely fierce, like a natural disaster. Although the monster's gaze is violent and crazy, but Bonnie seemed to hear his voice. Uzumaki Naruto. I want to find my former close friends. I want to protect my companions from being hurt. I want to be recognized by everyone. I want to become a Hokage. Before she could react, the surrounding scene suddenly changed. She found that she was thousands of meters above the sky. This sudden change made Bonnie afraid to act rashly. Looking down, at your feet is an extremely prosperous modern city with a population of tens of millions. Bonnie took a breath. She had been on the sea for several years. She had never seen a city of this size. There are hundreds of meters high skyscrapers everywhere. The broad streets are busy with traffic and lively. All this was completely beyond her imagination, and she was only shocked. Dong dong dong. Accompanied by a dull sound, a giant standing tall, 10,000 meters high, was walking between the cities. The tall buildings in front of it seemed as ridiculous as toys. Every step he took was like an earthquake, causing the ground to tremble. Just waving your arms at will can bring up wind pressure as strong as a Category 12 hurricane. Just walking around can trigger a series of earthquakes. To this kind of monster, even intensive shelling and bombardment would probably feel like being bitten by a mosquito. Human beings are no different from ants in front of it. The people in this city are finished. Bonnie couldn't help but sigh. At this moment, a black spot suddenly appeared in her field of vision, and it got bigger and bigger, and in the blink of an eye it came to the giant monster. It was a bald man wearing a cape. He slowly stretched out his right hand and punched the weirdo. Relaxed and comfortable, the seemingly light punch smashed the monster's head into pieces. The escaping fist wind was like a Category 12 typhoon, whizzing past at high altitude. Bonnie in the distance felt suffocated, and his whole body seemed to be falling apart. The giant who lost his head slowly fell down and hit the ground, causing the ground to shake. Another punch? It's really boring. Bonnie was stunned. This scene is really impactful. This monster capable of destroying the whole world. Was he easily killed with one punch by this guy who looked ordinary and even a little funny? She felt a little ridiculous. However, everything around me is so real that it feels like I am actually there. Next moment, the surrounding environment is changing rapidly, and the location is getting higher and higher. In the blink of an eye, she came from an altitude of 10,000 meters into a dead and dark universe. It seems to have transcended time and space, traveling rapidly through the universe. I don't know how long passed, but it suddenly stopped. Bonnie looked around in shock and couldn't help but marvel at the blue planet beneath his feet. Suddenly, a violent and dangerous aura hit his face. Not far away, a humanoid creature with a tail and a white and purple body crossed its arms and looked coldly at the planet below. It stretched out its finger and tapped forward slightly. A destructive beam shot out from his fingertips. Next moment, in the silence, the planet turned into dust. I don't know how much time has passed, and I don't know how many scenes I have experienced. Everything that seemed like a dream finally disappeared. Bonnie returned to reality. She opened her eyes, looking at the ice sculpture in front of me. Listen to the exclamations of your companions around you. Feeling the spreading, biting frost. His eyes were sharp and firm. Case, distorted future is launched. Give me a future like One Punch Man. Bonnie jumped up and flew over the big bear that was frozen into an ice sculpture in front of him. Look at the densely packed warships ahead and the 5 elders Satan on the deck. He punched his right fist hard. Dad, let me protect you this time. A sure kill. A serious punch. On the deck of a warship hundreds of meters away, there was a look of disdain in Sartan's eyes. There is no breath of hockey, and no energy fluctuations can be felt. With such a weak punch, you also want to hurt him from such a long distance? Laughingly stupid. Have you lost your mind because of your anger? He's just a 10-year-old kid after all. The words haven't been finished yet. Satan was shocked all over. There was an unspeakable look of horror in his pupils. he suddenly felt a fatal death threat. Next moment, in front of Bonnie's little fist, without warning, a shock wave was set off that would destroy the world. Boom. The huge roar almost shattered everyone's eardrums. The frozen ice in the entire sea area exploded and turned into countless tiny ice crystals. A violent shock wave swept over. This force is so powerful that it even distorts space. Hundreds of warships were instantly shattered into pieces and turned into debris all over the sky. It is tens of meters thick and weighs tens of millions of tons. The Gate of Justice, which was entirely made of steel, was overwhelmed and exploded into countless pieces. The violent shock wave continued unabated, sweeping tens of thousands of meters away in an instant. An extremely wide crack appeared in the entire sea area, like an abyss. The sea was split into two halves with one punch. The whistling fist wind roared past. Countless huge waves were set off on the sea that covered the sky and the sun. Nami, Robin, and others looked at all this in horror and were speechless for a long time. This seemingly ordinary punch turned out to be so terrifying, completely shattered their understanding. Everything in the 180-degree area in front, they were all destroyed and wiped out by this terrifying shock wave. After an unspeakable silence, countless exclamations erupted from the remaining dozens of warships. Quick, go and rescue Lord Satan. Aokiji Admiral is seriously injured and has sunk to the bottom of the sea. Go and save people. Countless Marines jumped into the sea. After a while, they were lucky enough to be rescued. However, after seeing their appearance, everyone was shocked. Below Satan's head, most of his body has almost disappeared. If it weren't for the black flames pouring out of his body that were constantly healing him, he would have died long ago. Admiral Aokiji has completely passed out. All the bones in his body were broken, and there was almost no chance of survival. Chapter 69. Luo, Luffy, Kid and others suddenly appeared at the Impel Down port. What happened just now? It was such a violent movement. Did you escape from that monster? Op Fruit's ability is really convenient. Stop talking nonsense and get out of here quickly. Magellan will be chasing you soon. Hey, this is the comm belt. How should we go next? Don't worry, we are taking a polar dive. Before he finished speaking, Luo was stunned for a moment. His polar diver was floating quietly on the surface of the sea at the moment. Fortunately, he had specifically asked this before leaving. Don't these guys know how dangerous this place is? However, the next moment, when Luo completely saw the scene in front of him, his pupils shrank suddenly, and he was completely stunned. Luffy, Kid, and others behind him were also stunned at what they saw. What's going on? Why are there so many Marines here? Damn it! Did you get discovered by Marine? But soon, they discovered that something was not right about the atmosphere on the court. The Marine soldiers had no intention of fighting and ignored them. Instead, he stared blankly in a certain direction, his eyes full of horror. On the deck of one of the warships, Aramaki held a cigarette in his mouth and exhaled a cloud of smoke. These guys have successfully robbed the prison and seem to be preparing to leave here. Hey, just smile. If we don't take action, it will be too late. The eyes hidden under the sunglasses were full of tension and uneasiness. Yixiao shook the zhongzhong knife with all his strength, and bursts of cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Although he was blind, he could still feel how terrifying the blow just now was. No, don't take action. It's impossible for the two of us to deal with that girl. Huangmu nodded and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Watch as the polar diver slowly sinks to the bottom of the sea. Originally, the fleet of 300 ships formed a semicircular formation and surrounded the entire port. As a result, there are only a few dozen ships left. Kizaru is nowhere to be found, and Aokiji looks like he will die at any moment. Even the top commander on site, Five Elders Lord Satan, was beaten into pieces and was no longer human. The situation can be said to be extremely bad. In any case, such a serious situation is no longer something we can handle. Hurry and inform Marshal Sengoku. Marineford. In the Marshal's office. Listen to the information coming from the phone bug. Sengoku's pupils trembled sharply, and his whole body was horrified beyond measure. I couldn't say a word for a long time. General Staff Officer, he also looked at the phone bug with dull eyes. This time, 50,000 naval troops and 300 warships were dispatched, as well as 2 admirals, 2 admiral candidates, 7 or 8 vice admirals. But only a few seconds after the battle started, this powerful force capable of starting a war with the 4 emperors was defeated? Or was it defeated in a way that was overwhelming and the rich had no history of resistance? Is this really something a 10-year-old girl can do? This paramecia fruit, is it really that exaggerated? Countless doubts lingered in the minds of the two of them and could not be dispelled for a long time. After an unknown amount of time, Sengoku took a deep breath. No matter how incredible it is, it has happened. After this battle, Marine's vitality was severely damaged. It is estimated that we will not be able to conduct large-scale military operations for a long time. Fortunately, Aramu and Xiao were not impulsive at the time. Otherwise, all the main forces of Marine will be accounted for there. But there was one thing that gave them a huge headache. 5 Elders Lord Sartan was severely injured and is now only breathing. Sengoku couldn't help but smile bitterly. This is troublesome. Holy Land Mariehua, Panga City. The 5 Elders' angry shouts came from the conference room. With one punch from Bonnie, Satan Aokiji was seriously injured and on the verge of death. 100 warships were instantly wiped out, and even the Gate of Justice was destroyed. The aftermath caused earthquakes and tsunamis that spread hundreds of kilometers away. Sengoku, are you serious? We know you want to retire, but don't say these silly stupid things, it's not funny. The 5 elders stood up from the sofa in shock and anger, and shouted angrily at the phone bug. Repeat it again. What is going on at the scene? What is One Punch Man? Sengoku sighed helplessly from the other side of the phone. How could I joke about something like this? This is indeed the case. I believe that all of you will receive the CPO's report soon. Saint Nashalang could no longer suppress the anger in his heart. He suddenly pulled out first-generation Katetsu and cut the phone bug in front of him in half. After a while, the CP0S sent detailed information about the scene. The 5 elders looked through it carefully, feeling increasingly frightened and sweating profusely. Sure enough, everything is as Sengoku said. This is such a terrifying power, it's like a god. It's really extraordinary to surpass Thunderfruit and rank second. No, I think it must be because of the reward from heaven. Otherwise, she would have dominated the world long ago. What about the supernovas? Do you want to continue hunting? We no longer have the ability to deal with these guys. Let them go to the new world to cause trouble with the 4 emperors. 11-0. We can't ignore Marine's side. Aokiji has been abolished, leaving only Kizaru as Marine Admiral. Directly appoint Xiao and Aramaki as the new Marine Admiral. By the way, this matter must not be leaked out, and the news must be blocked immediately. Warn Morgans, if they dare to report this news, Economic News Agency will disappear. Inside the Polar Diver, Luo is carefully checking Bonnie's condition. Since returning to the submarine, she has fallen into a deep coma. It is not life-threatening for the time being, but the cell activity has been severely reduced. Almost 1/3 of her future life will be overextended. It seems that if you want to obtain such a powerful power, you have to pay a price that is unimaginable for ordinary people. Everyone nodded silently. Although the matter has passed, the power of that punch still makes them feel palpitated. I don't know how long it took, but Bonnie finally woke up. Luffy seemed to be unable to wait any longer, so he rushed over and asked the question he had been wondering about for a long time. Hey, you guy, why do you know my third gear? Third gear. It's the move that makes your arms look like giants. Huh, don't be so sentimental. I'm not imitating you. I'm imagining what Nika looks like. Nika? At this time, Sanji looked at the sky, and Rizhao was surprised. He didn't even notice that the cigarette in his mouth fell. Hey look, the first place appears. Duh. Chapter 70. Inventory of the top 10 devil fruits. First place, Zoan Phantom Beast. Rinrin Fruit Nika Form. Owner, Monkey D. Luffy, Nami, Usopp, and other companions pointed to the sky and exclaimed, Hey, Luffy, your famous minister appears above. No, aren't you Paramecia Rubber Fruit? Did you eat some kind of phantom beast again in the future? Robin wondered. But, isn't everyone only allowed to eat one devil fruit? Nami mused. Since Blackbeard can eat 2 pills, Luffy should be able to eat them too, right? Luffy had a dull look on his face, and he was completely stunned. Nanny? So what I ate was not the Paramecia Rubber Fruit, but the Zoan fruit, which is the same as Chopper. Chopper was also confused. Hey, is everyone's fruit the strongest? Everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates cast incredulous glances at 120 Luffy. The long-held understanding collapsed in an instant. Where's the promised Paramecia Rubber Fruit? Why did he suddenly transform into the NQ1 Zoan Fantasy Beast species? Cheating, right? Ace's eyes widened with surprise. He couldn't imagine it at all. In this inventory list where Dad can only be ranked 10th, Luffy actually took first place and ate the strongest devil fruit in the world. Kid remained silent. The successive blows left him so shocked that he could not speak a word. Originally, the only people he really cared about were Luffy and Luo. If any of these supernovae are qualified to compete with him, I'm afraid it's just the 2 of them. As for Bonnie, she is just a gluttonous and mischievous woman with a big stomach. Kid didn't take her seriously at all. But after returning to the Polar Diver, he realized what had just happened. This guy who has no sense of existence. At the critical moment, he activated his abilities and imagined that he was a one-punch man, directly smashed the Marine fleet together with the Gate of Justice. The second-place fruit is so powerful every year. Isn't the Nika fruit ranked first even more heaven-defying? Kid secretly clenched his fists. It's just that Luo's op fruit can be on the list. It doesn't matter to him if Bonnie comes in second place. But now, this Straw Hat Boy has actually reached the top of the list. The gap between them has become wider and wider. Bonnie looked at the sky, and then looked at Luffy beside him in disbelief. He couldn't believe it. The silly-looking guy in front of me turned out to be the legendary Nika. It's not just them. The emergence of the first place also caused an uproar around the world. Within impelled down, the prisoners cursed wildly. It was obviously a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to escape from prison, but those guys just left like that. But when they saw those lines of words in the sky, the noisy shouting and cursing disappeared instantly. There was a dead silence in the prison. Crocodile's vision went dark, and he almost fainted from anger. Is that B****************, D the chosen one? Impelled downport. Magellan looked at the sky with complicated eyes and clenched his fists tightly. I felt both shocked and unspeakable guilt in my heart. Straw Hat Luffy, the strongest devil fruit user on the rankings, he was rescued right under his nose. New World. Aboard the Mama Queen Anthem, the strongest devil fruit finally appears. Linlin, did you see it? The Zoan phantom beast species is the most powerful. Kaido was very happy when he saw what was ahead. He laughed with a showy look on his face. But when he saw Nika's form and Luffy's name, the expression on his face suddenly stiffened. That Straw Hat Boy actually ate the strongest devil fruit. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. In the future, hasn't he been completely defeated by Lousy? Is he the only one who deserves to be the strongest? The ant's face was extremely ugly. In the future, these supernovas will come to the New World and challenge the four emperors. Originally, one Luo was already troublesome enough. Now Straw Hat Luffy has also become the number one. If nothing else, you will also receive heavenly rewards after the inventory. Could it be that their fate has been determined? Will he inevitably be defeated at the hands of these brats? Damn it! On the deck of the Redfords, the members of Red Hair Pirates looked at the sky and burst into loud exclamations. Boss, look, it's that boy Luffy. The fruit he accidentally ate was actually the first one. Nonsense. This is what we took back from the world government. Of course it is not an ordinary thing. Luffy is really lucky. Even Ben Beckman, who has always been cold and cold, couldn't help but be moved by it. He slowly exhaled a puff of smoke. Since it ranks first, it means Luffy has successfully awakened. Shanks, this kid is indeed qualified to become the Pirate King. Shanks looked at the sky quietly, his empty sleeves fluttering in the wind. His eyes were full of emotion. Yes, it seems I made the right bet. After 800 years since Joy Boy, the sun god Nika will finally reappear in the world. This sea will soon usher in a new era. Marineford. Sengoku, who had just put down his phone, stared blankly at the sky. The first place is actually him. Although the Whitebeard pirates were clearly eliminated, the situation became more serious. Bonnie, who ranks second on the rankings, showed unimaginable terrifying strength. Marine is now extremely weak. Ro, Bonnie, Luffy. The existence of these three people was like a huge mountain, weighing him down. Sengoku, Saru, and all of Marine had to admit a desperate truth. In the next few decades, this sea may become the world of pirates. Holy Land, Mariehua, Penga City. The atmosphere in the huge conference room was extremely solemn. In the 800 years since the establishment of world government, there have been countless devil fruits with a size of 5.3 in the world. But they know, only this Nika fruit can overturn the world and pose a fundamental threat to the rule of the celestial dragons. Nika, the legendary liberation fighter. 800 years ago, he was revered as the sun god Nika for liberating enslaved people and establishing a huge kingdom. 800 years later, it appears again in the eyes of the world. It turned out that Kizaru had captured Luffy and locked him up and impelled down. The main fleet of Sartan and Marine also arrived there. Facing this fruit, they didn't look down on it or be careless, but accidents still happened. Just like before, this Nika fruit left them again. The five elders looked up at the sky, their faces extremely expressionless. St. Nazho Lang sighed slightly. Let's see first. Maybe Straw Hat has not fully developed its power. Chapter 71. Seeing in the sky, Luffy returned to the Skull Dome and faced Kaido. St. Nazho Lang couldn't help but frown. Is it still the previous battle on Onigashima? Didn't Kaido already defeat this kid? The blonde, short-haired five elders snorted coldly. After all, it is a Zoan fantasy beast species. and it also has the characteristics of rubber, so it will naturally be more powerful. But Kaido seems to be getting serious. In the screen, Kaido silently looked at Luffy, who returned to the battlefield, and he also said some more wolfish words. Next moment, a thunder exploded suddenly. Boom. The two disappeared from people's sight in an instant. The speed was so fast that they could not be caught with the naked eye. Two white airwaves cut through the sky in midair, bombarding each other with infinite power. A punch and a stick collided in the air, and black lightning exploded everywhere. The conquerors of the two pirate emperors collided violently, and the sky flew into the sky. The color of heaven and earth changed. The thick clouds were blown away, and the bright moonlight fell on the ghost island. At this moment, the powerful figures of the two emperors were completely displayed in front of the world. The sky was actually torn apart by the momentum of these two people. That Straw Hat Boy actually reached this level, under the surprised eyes of the five elders. The battle between the two also became more intense. During the battle, Kaido even drank because he was so happy. Faced with a disgruntled Luffy, he just laughed. It's been a long time since I've had a guy who let me use my full strength in a one-on-one battle. Burp, drunkard ate trigrams. The half-dragon's body instantly swelled with violent power. With an almost maniacal laugh, the iron rod fell on his head. Drunken Luin, Lei Nai Luo. This blow almost shattered the entire skull dome, and the entire ghost island became crumbling. Luffy was hit hard, but he didn't faint like before. Instead, he covered his head and screamed. Kaido did not continue the pursuit. After a short period of happiness, he suddenly became extremely sad. Seeing that Onigashima, which I worked so hard to manage, has turned into a semi-destroyed state, Kaido's heart was almost broken. Unconscious, he transformed into a dragon form and rolled around. Damn it, I can't even protect a castle. Obviously I have tried my best. Drink Luffy yelled at the B************* D in pain and wanted to take advantage of the situation to attack again. But as soon as he rushed in front of him, the collapsed dragon spun around wildly. Tornado Bad Wind brings up the scattered airflow and turns it into a wind blade that sweeps in all directions. He couldn't get close at all. Stay away from me. Leave me alone. Kaido's mentality suddenly exploded and he began to cry loudly. But the next moment, his whole body immediately disappeared on the spot. He waved the mace in his hand fiercely. Conqueror's haki is entangled layer by layer, forming countless streaks of black lightning. The force of this blow was more than 10,000 tons. It was simply unstoppable. Swing hard at Luffy. Luffy seizes the opportunity. Observation haki, who can predict the future, has complete insight into all the opponent's actions. He dodged the attack with a backflip and stepped on the mace. Kaido, whose eyes were filled with tears, opened his eyes wide. It was too late to escape. After wrapping around Conqueror's blow, he kicked Kaido so hard that he lay on his back and vomited blood. Before Luffy had time to be happy, the next second he was entangled in the opponent's dragon tail. Kaido, who was in tears, and Luffy, who had no choice but to retreat, headed towards each other in unison. Their foreheads have not yet touched. The surrounding conquerors has exploded from the air. It took a lot of effort to get drunk. Kaido murmured. When the sadness dissipated, the anger in my heart continued to soar. He opened his mouth wide. A breath of hot breath came out with anger. Wherever the flames swept across, the rocky peaks melted. But while Luffy was dodging, a counterattack was also brewing. The giant's fist is covered with powerful haki, and the shadows of the fist continue to fall all over the sky. Strange bird, strong and beat. Not to be outdone, Kaido turned the mace in his hand into afterimages. Jundali, Long Shungjun. In this indiscriminate fight, Luffy took advantage of his flexibility and kicked Kaido hard in the abdomen. Kaido's eyes turned white after being beaten, and blood seeped out from between his teeth. However, Luffy was not optimistic either. His eyes were extremely tired. The battle between the two has reached a fever pitch. Just at this time, Kaido also noticed what was happening below. Another 4 emperors, his ally Charlotte Linlin, has been defeated. It was clearly agreed that the two of them would go to seize the great secret treasure together. But why were they defeated at this moment? Luffy didn't give Kaido time to sigh, and transformed into the 4th gear Snakeman form. Rubber Hydra. The elusive Iron Fist is as fast as Ultimate. It turned into afterimages, bent several times in the air, and hit Kaido like a violent storm. It is precisely because of your boring ambitions that people in this country don't even have enough to eat. Luffy's offensive is getting faster and faster. The shadow of fists in the sky filled the entire dome. Take it. This is my last 4th gear. I won't stop attacking until I completely lose my strength. Kaido couldn't resist the fist that came from nowhere. After finally blocking a punch, more snake punches came from all directions. A shy expression suddenly appeared on Kaido's face. This is drunken coquettish mode. Not only did he beg Luffy to stop in a tiring tone, he even winked at the torrent of attacks. Luffy yelled angrily, "Why are you still drunk?" But what he doesn't know is, this gesture is the precursor for Kaido to throw away all his baggage and decide to go all out. Kaido belched wine and said, "Don't think that you are the only one who can see the future." The voice fell. Kaido, who was passively beaten at first, turned into the state of a giant dragon. The huge body instantly disappeared under the iron fists in the sky. Let me imitate it for you. Drunk stealing mode. The dragon's body keeps changing directions and bending in the air. The big mouth full of sharp teeth bit Luffy hard. Blood splattered everywhere, and Luffy screamed in pain. Kaido bit him and carried him high into the sky. The next moment, an astonishing hot breath gathered in his mouth. A beam of light that seemed to be able to burn everything fell from the sky, completely submerging Luffy. Even throughout the entire Ghost Island, Luffy was burned all over his body and was almost unable to resist. Fortunately, he switched to the bouncing human form in time and used the elasticity to escape from the heat breath range. Bounce all the way back to the Skull Dome. Looking at Luffy returning to the battlefield, Kaido didn't care, but smiled and said hello. At this time, Luffy was very anxious. He knows very well, there are only a few minutes left in the final fourth gear. It was almost the decisive blow. As long as you are here, the people of Wano won't even be able to drink good water. Luffy takes a high position, his right fist getting bigger and bigger, and the violent conquerors surround him. Concentrate all your strength on this punch. Kaido had no intention of dodge and faced him with a wild smile. I don't care who you side with. Wano guys are used to losing. Kaido recalled the various people he had met in this country. They are all idiots who are not worth mentioning. Over the years, he had had enough of those so-called samurai. People who heard that Kaido actually slandered Wano. Luffy's veins suddenly popped out, and he was furious, shouting loudly. Samurai are very strong. Kaido looked disdainful. He is a strong person who only values results, and simply looks down on those guys who make excuses for failure. Is it better to be strong or to be strong? The winner does not need extra rhetoric. Straw Hat Luffy, which category do you belong to? Luffy said nothing and decided to see the truth. The tyrannical ape king's spear. The huge fourth-speed fist is so fast that the entity cannot be seen clearly. There was a piercing sonic boom, which hit Kaido hard on the chin, knocking him to the ground. Luffy took advantage of the situation and flew down, preparing to completely defeat the opponent before the end of the fourth gear. At the same time, Kaido's figure was vaguely visible in the smoke. Along with it, there was that deep voice. 8 trigrams. The thundering blow passed like lightning. Luffy rolled his eyes and spat out a mouthful of blood. He flew backwards helplessly and crashed heavily into the ruins behind him. The huge body also began to leak air. Looking at Luffy's dying struggle, Duo smiled ferociously and showed a fierce look on his face. At this time, he has entered the most dangerous, drunk killing mode. But he didn't want to continue fighting. He will use this final blow to send Straw Hat Luffy to his death. The smoke and dust gradually dissipated. Luffy climbed up from the rubble with a determined look. The last blow. If it still doesn't work, then I lose. Both of them no longer held back and rushed toward each other crazily. The Thunder Plane 8 trigrams and the Ape King Spear are about to be launched at the same time. At this moment, an uninvited guest suddenly flew into the corner of the battlefield. The CPO wearing a black and white eye mask came to Luffy's side instantly. He firmly clasped his right arm, which had been fully charged, with his hand. Iron Body. The powerful force locked Luffy's body tightly. No matter how hard he struggled, the last move, the Tyrant Ape King Spear, could not be used. Kaido was shocked and confused, but he left no room for this final blow. Even if he wanted to stop the attack, his body wouldn't be able to react. At this moment, his mind flashed back to the scene in that decisive battle that year, when Odin was deceived by the fake Momonosuke and lost the duel due to distraction. At this moment, Odin and Luffy's expressions were so similar. I'm afraid even my mood is the same as it was then. Boom. Accompanied by a loud roar. The mace dragged the Black Thunder down and hit Luffy hard with irresistible force. At this time, Luffy completely lost consciousness. Like a deflated balloon, it exited the fourth gear and fell heavily to the ground. CPO kicked his foot and quickly got out of the impact range. Kaido's flaws are splitting apart, and his eyes are full of disbelief. What exactly is such a victory? After many years, it was not easy for him to fight as vigorously as he does today. But at the last minute, this battle was completely frustrated by the blind guy. The 5 elders breathed a sigh of relief and withdrew their gaze. This duel is almost as at the end of it. Even if Kaido doesn't take action, that CP0 can take care of Luffy. I didn't expect this guy to be able to fight Kaido to such an extent. It's really amazing. Everyone nodded secretly, although it has not reached the level of awakening. But whether it's the 4th speed Snake Man form or the Bouncing Man form, that Straw Hat Boy has taken advantage of the properties of rubber to the ultimate. To reach such a height at such a young age is worthy of the legendary Nika Fruit. Just die quietly and start the next reincarnation. There was silence inside the polar diver. Everyone stared blankly at the sky, shocked by this battle. In an unspeakable silence, Ace sighed softly and patted Luffy on the shoulder. I swore secretly in my heart, he will never let such a future happen again. Zoro, Sanji, Nami, and others looked down slightly. Luffy, did you lose in the end? Even if the opponent is the hopelessly powerful 4 emperors, but they still maintain absolute confidence in Luffy. 800 This man is their captain. I don't know how many powerful enemies I defeated along the way. But in the picture, the miserable appearance of the loser silently tells a fact. Straw Hat Luffy, completely defeated. On the Queen Mother Anthem, Kaido looked at the sky silently, not knowing what he was thinking. But his slightly trembling hands showed that he was not at peace in his heart. The ant on the side couldn't help laughing loudly. Well. Straw Hat Luffy, I thought this guy was so special. After all, this kid is just like everyone else. He's just a challenger who overestimates his abilities. Hey Kaido, that guy has nothing to worry about. Now you are at the top of the world and are the strongest in the world. Even if he gets a reward from heaven, he cannot be your opponent. Redverse. Everyone in Red Hair Pirates was silent. In the picture, future Luffy's strength is clearly comparable to that of the 4 emperors. In the end, he was plotted against and defeated. They are clear. Even if he is a Zoan phantom beast, he has already reached his limit after fighting like this. No more miracles can happen. Shank's hand unconsciously grasped Fink's waist. He, who had always been easygoing, rarely shouted angrily. Damn CPO, damn world government. How shameless to interfere in their final duel. Beckman sighed softly. Compared to Kaido, those 5 elders are more afraid of the legendary Nika. Windmill Village, Dayton, the bar owner, the village chief, and the villagers lowered their heads, their eyes filled with sadness. Alabasta, Vivi, King, Kosha, and the Kung Fu manatee stared at the sky silently, their eyes becoming moist unknowingly. Sky Island, Gamfort, Weber, Conies. Countless people around the world stared blankly at the sky, witnessing Luffy's fall. In the screen, there was silence on the dome of ruined skulls. All that remains is the swirling sand left after the Great War. The dead, Luffy was lying on the ground, completely lifeless. Only the cold wind whistled between heaven and earth. Suddenly, there was a sound coming from the Straw Hat Boy's body. New World, there was a sudden violent shock in the 3 kingdoms of Zwowu. The Fur tribe were surprised to find out. The Elephant Master who holds up their kingdom is tens of thousands of meters tall. At this moment, he actually raised his head and looked at the sky. Drums of liberation. Joy Boy, he's back. Dong dong dong. An inexplicable drum sound suddenly sounded. The sound is getting louder and clearer. All around the world, everyone watching the marquee was surprised to find out. In the screen, the unconscious Luffy actually smiled. The scarred body is also constantly radiating heat. Chapter 72. The heat radiating from Luffy's body gradually turned into a white form between liquid and solid, and began to float upwards. Under a bright moon, Luffy changes the shape of his body at will. At this time, his body was full of strength and his heart was filled with indescribable happiness. It even feels like I can achieve everything I want to do. It seems that I can continue to fight, and the beating of my heart sounds interesting. This is my highest point. This is my 5th gear. Flaming hair, thick eyebrows. The clothes also turned white, and the whole body was wrapped in smoke. Looking at Luffy's strange posture in the picture and listening to his heartbeat like a drum, the 5 elders' eyes widened with disbelief. They all shouted out loudly, "What's going on? Isn't he dead yet? How is this possible? Hasn't he reached his limit? How can you continue to fight after taking a blow like that from Kaido? Wait, what's going on with this posture? Could it be that this guy has awakened?" The 5 elders shouted uncontrollably, and their bodies could not help but tremble. What they were most worried about finally happened. Deep in Panga City, on the throne surrounded by sword tombs, the king of the world looked at the sky quietly. Under that mask, waves of extremely terrifying auras continued to come out. The rippled pupils exuded a coldness that was indifferent to everything. "After 800 years, have you appeared again? Joy Boy." At the same time, people all over the world also saw this strange scene. Revolutionary Army Headquarters. Everyone looked at the sky in disbelief. Is that guy Luffy? Why did he suddenly become like this? Yes, isn't he already defeated? Have you forgotten the previous subtitles? Luffy is not a rubber fruit-capable person, but a Zoan phantom beast species, in the form of a human fruit Nika. That free and cheerful posture. That's right, it's Nika, the legendary liberation warrior sun god Nika. Until this moment, Dorag's tense nerves finally relaxed. Luffy, you really surprised me. Beckman looked at the sky in surprise, with the cigarette in his mouth falling to the ground. It seems the battle is not over yet. He who was mortal actually regained his life again. Is this the power of devil fruit? It's really incredible. Shanks looked relaxed and sighed with relief. Yes, it is indeed incredible. I didn't expect that after 800 years, this kid would really awaken this legendary power. Inside the polar diver, everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates breathed a sigh of relief. Zoro chuckled. Oh, standing up again. I knew you weren't that easy to defeat. Sanji held the cigarette in his mouth and slowly exhaled a puff of smoke. But then again, Luffy, you look really weird like this. Hey, really? I think he's quite handsome. Bonnie and the big bear on the side looked blankly at the sky. This is the legendary sun god Nika who rescued enslaved people and brought laughter to the world. In the screen, since the battle, Luffy has never felt as strong as he does now. Haki's black thunder turned into substance, shattering the roof like a punishment from heaven. The next second, the members of the beast's pirates in the castle were frothing at the mouth and fainted. Kaido, who had transformed into the form of a blue dragon and was wreaking havoc everywhere, was shocked. I felt an aura of danger and uneasiness inexplicably, just as he looked above his head. Sudden, a huge hand fell from the sky and held him firmly in its palm. Fifth gear Luffy laughed loudly and pulled the dragon in his hand back to the skull dome with a strong lift. Kaido was unable to resist, and even his eyes flew out in an exaggerated manner. This scene is really shocking, so much so that people all over the world were dumbfounded. The strongest creature in the world for Emperor's Kaido. This terrifying dragon is so huge that no one can even think of resisting. It was actually caught in the hand like a loach. Immediately afterwards, in the fifth gear, Luffy curves his arms to accumulate strength, and exaggerated muscles bulge in his arms. While laughing, he grabbed the giant dragon and spun around at high speed. Kaido was stunned for a moment. There was no time to respond to what happened. Unable to resist, he could only scream and let the other party play with him. As if it wasn't enough, Luffy suddenly changed his posture. I saw his waist sinking downward with force. He grabbed the dragon's body with both hands and kept beating it to the left and right. Kaido's head kept hitting the ground, and powerful impacts came in waves. He could only grit his teeth to prevent blood from spilling. After a while, he was beaten so dizzy that he couldn't find his way. Having had enough fun, Luffy suddenly let go of his hands. He seemed to be amused by Kaido's funny look. He just lay on the ground and laughed. I saw that the previously majestic and terrifying giant dragon now had stars on its head and rolled its eyes. A big bump also appeared on his head. After seeing this, the whole world fell into a period of deathly silence. Everyone was stunned. Everything they saw was beyond their imagination. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. In the sky full of smoke and dust, Kaido shook his head. Seeing that the opponent who had been fighting for a long time was still alive, it seemed that he had gained new strength. He didn't show any disappointment, but instead started laughing ferociously. Perhaps because of the opportunity to wash away his shame, he even thanked the fact that Straw Hat Kid was resurrected. Kaido opened his huge mouth, and without saying a word, he sprayed a scorching flame beam towards Luffy. Luffy, who was lying on the ground laughing, seemed to sense the danger coming. When he glanced back, he was immediately stunned. He quickly grabbed the ground with both hands. Under the influence of the fruit's ability, the originally hard ground became soft. Luffy pushed hard with both hands, and the rubber wall that was pulled up immediately blocked him. It bounced the oncoming heat breath intact. Kaido didn't expect that the other party would do this. He was suddenly stunned on the spot and was engulfed by the sky full of fire. Seeing that the attack was effective, Luffy laughed again. He was so happy that he covered his eyes and raised his feet. Even the Marines couldn't help but complain about this happy look. Hey, why does this style of painting feel a little wrong? Is this guy really fighting? Why is he laughing all the time? A look of surprise flashed in Sengoku's eyes, and Chunin couldn't help but murmured, "Be able to affect things around you." That's right, this is the effect of Devil Fruit's ability awakening. Crane's face was solemn, and he observed carefully. After awakening his abilities, Straw Hat Luffy can easily deal with all Kaido's attacks. Now he can not only change the shape of his body at will, but he is also more powerful, flexible, and free than the previous fourth gear. Is this the fifth gear after awakening? It's really a terrifying force. Kaido is a dragon who controls wind, fire, thunder, and lightning. Naturally, he will not be hurt by his own heat breath. He lowered his head slightly and looked at Luffy seriously. I'm sorry for what happened to that idiot just now. I never thought about winning in that way. Luffy didn't care when he heard this, but smiled brightly. Don't worry about that kind of thing. Let's decide the outcome. As he spoke, he turned the ground into a trampoline. Playing happily, Kaido suddenly felt something was wrong with such a willful and carefree look. He couldn't figure it out and gave up unnecessary speculation. He suddenly opened his huge mouth and bit Luffy hard like lightning. Luffy was having fun and was swallowed into his stomach without warning. But the next second, Kaido's expression changed drastically, and cold sweat continued to flow down. Luffy used the long body of the dragon in his belly as a runway and kept tossing it back and forth, causing the dragon to scream in agony. He even thought this was not enjoyable enough. He actually used the rubber balloon and instantly enlarged Kaido's belly. This time it's almost killing me, Kaido retched and cursed wildly. Luffy in his belly became so playful that he turned into a huge balloon, with the dragon's body slowly rising to the sky. Such a funny scene made countless people around the world go crazy. Kid, Luo, Bonnie, and other supernovas had several black lines on their foreheads. The corners of his mouth kept twitching. Ace looked at his younger brother speechlessly, really not knowing how to complain. Zoro couldn't help but cover his face. Hey, you guys are too messy, aren't you? If you want to fight, fight well. Ha ha ha, it seems quite fun. I didn't expect that I would gain such interesting abilities in the future. Everyone in Red Hair Pirates was speechless for a while. Even Beckman couldn't help but shook his head and complained. Is this Nika? It's really a random way of fighting. Shanks patted the other party on the shoulder and laughed. Although you are messing around, you are very happy, aren't you? This is Joey Boy who can bring laughter to the world. Aboard the Queen Mother. After being stunned for a moment, the ant couldn't help but burst into laughter. Kaido had a sinister look on his face, and his whole body was trembling. This damn B**********************. What on earth is he doing? It's obviously a battle between life and death, but the other side is just like playing. The key is that in the picture, I don't have any ability to parry, and I'm about to be outplayed by the other party. Showing such ugliness in front of everyone in the world, his reputation and majesty were all reduced to nothing at this moment, and he became the laughingstock of the world. Thinking of this, Kaido became extremely angry, and his heart was filled with overwhelming anger. Damn Straw Hat Boy, Lousy will never let this happen. Lousy wants to kill him before he wakes up. Luffy seemed to have had enough of playing in Kaido's belly. He suddenly stretched out his arms and turned the dragon's eyes into rubber. Put your hands through your eyes and grab your nose. Use it as a force point and push it hard. He flew out of the dragon's body using the rubber escape rocket launcher. With a mischievous smile on his face, he laughed happily. While blowing a breath, the whole person flew into the sky 10,000 meters high. Kaido below is still ba, sticking out his tongue disgustingly. Suddenly a cry of rubber came from the sky. Kaido, Qianli Hao, subconsciously looked above his head. Next moment, the clouds dissipate. Luffy suddenly turned into a giant thousands of meters tall and towering over the sky. A fierce look suddenly flashed in Kaido's eyes. It seemed that he was seeking revenge for the injustice he had just suffered. Instead of retreating, he stepped forward to meet him. He opened his big mouth full of sharp teeth and bit Luffy's belly forcefully. Luffy screamed in pain. He simply stretched out his hands and grabbed the head and tail of the dragon's body. Just use it as a skipping rope. Not to be outdone, Kaido turned around and took a breath of heat. The blazing beam blasted Luffy thousands of meters away. However, this attack did not work. Luffy, whose whole body turned into Kurizumi, kicked up his legs in anger. Just like riding on a hot wheel, it instantly spanned a distance of several thousand meters and flew back to the Skull Dome the next moment. Holy Land Mariehua, Panga City. The five elders stared closely at the scene of the two fighting. Although Luffy looks ridiculous, it's more like playing than fighting. But the expressions on their faces were extremely serious. The five elders knew that the Nika fruit was very powerful, but they didn't expect it to be so exaggerated. After all, it was a legend from 800 years ago, and no one had ever really seen it with their own eyes. It wasn't until I saw Luffy's performance that I realized that they had underestimated this Nika fruit. Facing Kaido, the world's top powerhouse, he still does whatever he wants. Attack, defense, mobility. There is no fault in every aspect. As if everything is possible. If you have to find any shortcomings. I'm afraid I just have this character that has no intention of fighting and is always laughing and playing. Duh. Chapter 73. Luffy stepped on the Hot Wheels and quickly returned to the top of the Ghost Island. Kaido also turned into a dragon-like form at this time. Holding on to the mace, he kept breathing heavily. Upon hearing the noise, he jumped up without hesitation and brandished his huge mace. Jiang Sanshur, Inai Luo. Accompanied by bursts of sharp whistling sounds, this powerful and heavy blow hit Luffy hard on the head. Even the eyes and tongue were knocked out by the hammer. What was originally an extremely bloody and violent scene became comical and ridiculous. These two people are not in the same style at all. Luffy yelled and pulled out the head with force. Because of excessive force, his face hit his face with a snap, making him scream. Even Kaido on the opposite side couldn't stand this nonsense. He shouldered the mace and said coldly, "It's almost like watching a painting story. Although it was a fun show, it's time to come to an end. Straw Hat, have you reached your limit? Who do you think has reached the limit?" Luffy responded unhappily, but the next moment, the burning flame on his head suddenly went out, and his hair turned back to black. The body is like aging rubber, losing its elasticity and shriveling. A slumped Luffy is seen. Kaido also suddenly knelt on one knee on the ground, breathing heavily. When the five elders saw this, they all breathed a sigh of relief. As much as you want to get, you have to pay as much as you want. Although Straw Hat is almost invincible in the fifth gear state, the consumption in this state is also astonishing. Yes, if he can maintain this attitude all the time, then who else in the world can be his opponent? This guy's fight is weird, ridiculous, illogical, and incomprehensible. It was as if we were in a different dimension than them. Nazho Langsheng said coldly, "There are weaknesses in any ability, even this Nikari. Not talking about the present. Even if the Straw Hat Kid successfully awakens in the future, as long as Marine dispatches 2 Admiral-level combat forces, he should be able to capture him." The five elders with short blonde hair shook their heads. Having said that, the problem is that now the supernovas are all together. Now that Marine's vitality is severely weakened, it may be difficult to eradicate them in advance. In the scene, Luffy struggled to stand up from the ground again. The figures of Kodama, Kinemon, Pedro, and others flashed in his mind. That was his reason for fighting for this country. Gradually, Luffy's heart glowed with high morale. It entered the fifth gear state again and regained its vitality. Kaido also stood up with difficulty holding the mace. Looking at Luffy's determined look, he smiled with satisfaction. Next moment, the two figures disappeared from the spot, and a fierce battle broke out again. The movement caused by both sides was simply earth-shattering. The ground continued to shake, and the entire Ghost Island began to shake. The aftermath was like a hurricane, roaring in all directions. As the battle continued, Luffy became more and more comfortable using the fifth gear. After you come and I fight against each other, a punch passed through Kaido's head and knocked him away hard. But he didn't take advantage of the situation to pursue him. Instead, he played on the trampoline. Since his awakening, Luffy seems to have endless energy and is constantly having fun. What a joy, Kaido. Kaido's eyes darkened. He couldn't understand why since the battle started, this Straw Hat boy is completely different from before. Who are you? At the same time, the five elders who were always staring at the sky also frowned. Obviously, he was in a life-and-death fight, but he kept laughing and playing. Has your personality completely changed after you awakened your abilities? It seems that the demon's soul inhabiting his body has affected him. There is also a possibility that Luffy is actually dead long ago, and now Nika has taken over his body and is directing all his actions. Nazho Langsheng snorted coldly. No matter what the situation is, it's not a good thing for us. But what is certain is that the Nika fruit is the most dangerous and terrifying fruit in history, bar none. Kaido was heard questioning. Fa. Luffy responded loudly without hesitation. Who I am? I am Monkey D. Luffy, a man who wants to surpass you and become the Pirate King. Kaido stood up straight and laughed wildly. He could finally relax. The thing he was fighting wasn't some weird thing. When body and mind are enough to match ability, awakening will be a matter of course. No more nonsense from Kaido. The mace in his hand was swung so tightly that it turned into countless afterimages and attacked Luffy. Luffy was beaten until he vomited blood, but he didn't show any weakness, and used the same moves to hit many people back and forth. Even the whole body was dented. At this point in the dust battle, the battle between the two has completely entered a fever pitch. None of them planned to dodge, or they lost the strength to dodge. It's very strong. Shanks, who was silent, suddenly sighed. It immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding crew members. Boss, what are you doing? Luffy is very strong in this state. Even if it were me, I'm not sure he could be his opponent. Everyone looked at each other. This was the first time they heard the captain say such words. Shanks continued minding his own business. It seems that the kid did fulfill the agreement between us. I really look forward to that day in the future. Beckman smoked his cigarette silently, and after a while he said in a deep voice, "It seems that you have decided that Luffy will win this duel?" Shanks nodded. "Yes, he is the new Joey boy. How could he be defeated in a place like this?" But having said that, Kaido is quite a nice guy. One stick knocked out Luffy's Conqueror's entanglement before, and now he knocks out the Fruit Awakening with one stick. I don't know what the next stick will knock out. Beckman shook his head. There should be no next one. The battle has reached this level. Both of them have almost reached their limit, and the winner will be announced soon. Everyone turns their attention to Revolving Heaven again. Next moment, when they saw the scene in the picture, they were so shocked that they couldn't say a word. Rubber, rubber, thunder. Luffy is high in the sky, holding a giant lightning bolt in his hand. As if holding a javelin, he threw it towards Kaido below. This shocking scene caused an uproar around the world. Everyone in the Polar Diver cast their eyes in disbelief. "Hey, you guy, can you even hold lightning? This is too exaggerated." Zoro suddenly remembered something and said uncertainly, "The reason why Enel's lightning attack cannot be effective on you is not entirely because of the rubber. But this sun god Nika fruit is naturally immune to electricity." Everyone couldn't help but nodded. After all, the lightning that Enel can unleash reaches tens of millions or even 100 million volts. No matter what kind of rubber it is, it cannot withstand it. The Marine headquarters was in an uproar. The sailors looked at the sky and were dumbfounded, as if they were petrified. Catch lightning and use it as a weapon? There is no difference between such means and gods. You can actually do this kind of thing. Sengoku's pupils shrank suddenly, and he swallowed secretly. He also smiled bitterly and shook his head. It's really outrageous. Those who didn't know better thought this guy was eating a natural coffin. Hey, no matter what, after all, it is a Zoan fantasy beast species that is rarer than Logia. Even if something incredible happens later, they won't be surprised. For this Straw Hat boy, it seems like all the common sense and rules in the world no longer exist. Under the nervous eyes of countless people, the battle between Luffy and Kaido has also reached its final moment. In the sky, a fist almost as big as Onigashima suddenly appeared. It's wrapped with sharp weapon colors and Conqueror's haki. The terrifying power makes me tremble just by looking at it. Kaido also knew that this was the final blow. He had no reservations anymore. Fiery flames spurted out of his mouth and instantly surrounded his body. Fire Dragon Torch. The originally huge body continued to expand. Fused with the flames, it turned into a giant flame dragon. The surrounding temperature rises sharply. Even the corner of Onigashima was completely melted the moment it touched the body. Luffy shouted from the sky, "Rubber, rubber ape Shinso." At the same time, the giant fist wrapped around Conquerors and the armed color slammed downwards. Not only was the flaming giant unafraid, but it faced him head-on. Rising dragon flame, 8 trigrams. At this moment, the world seems to be stagnant. There was silence, a dead silence. Next moment, a huge roar suddenly exploded. Countless black lightning burst out from the void, tearing apart the surrounding space. The violent shock wave that followed quickly spread in all directions, sweeping to a distance of 10,000 meters. The full blow from both sides seemed to be able to annihilate everything, and even the sky trembled. Even through the sky, you can feel this terrifying power. Everyone who was watching was deeply shocked and swallowed their saliva. Aramaki wiped the cold sweat from his head with lingering fear. Just now, the world government issued the latest order to Marine. He and Ishiao, codenamed Green Bull, Fujitora, together with Kizaru, he becomes the Marine 3 Admiral. No matter who wins in the end between Luffy and Kaido, they will all face these terrible monsters. Thinking of this, Green Bull didn't know whether to feel happy or sad. In the sky, Luffy and Kaido are in constant stalemate. Even with emission protection, it cannot completely isolate this high temperature. Luffy was in pain. Jinin couldn't help but groan. Kaido bit his huge fist tightly, and countless past memories suddenly appeared in his mind. Straw Hat, what kind of world do you want to create? After a long silence, Luffy replied firmly, I want to create a world where all my friends have enough to eat. As soon as he finished speaking, new power burst out in Luffy's body. The suppressed huge iron fist suddenly burst out with tremendous power. Haki instantly dispersed Kaido and the flames surrounding him. It hit the body hard like a meteorite. The devastating impact exploded high in the sky. Luffy poured all his faith into a punch that finally brought this long battle to an end. As Kaido rolled his eyes and was slammed into the ground, The picture in the sky also began to gradually darken. There was a moment of silence around the world. Until the picture disappeared completely, people still didn't come back to their senses. Still immersed in the earth-shattering battle between Kanda. Victory. Everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates took a deep breath. They all cast shocked glances at Luffy. Although I have absolute confidence in this guy, but after seeing him defeat Kaido and achieve the final victory, it still feels like a dream. That's the Pirate Emperor with a bounty of more than 4 billion. Kid and Luo looked at each other very complicatedly. In the future battle on Ghost Island, the two of them worked together to defeat Big Mom with difficulty. Kid secretly clenched his fists. It is also the awakening of fruit abilities. But he felt like a clown. Luffy laughed. What? It turns out that new worlds for emperors are just like that. Boys, let's set sail, kill Kaido, and liberate Wanakuni. Nami punched Luffy hard on the head and said angrily, "Hey, that's you in the future. Although I don't know what you have been through during this period, there is definitely no way to kill that monster now." Rewards of 300 million and 4.3 billion. Any normal person knows the difference. At this time, a solemn voice sounded in everyone's mind. Number 1 in the top 10 devil fruits, Zoan Phantom Beast, Rinrin Fruit Nika Form. Owner, Monkey D. Luffy, rewards are being distributed. Chapter 74. Reward. Time for Ashiki, accompanied by a mysterious voice in my head. Suddenly, there was something like a tablecloth in Luffy's hand. It immediately attracted the curious eyes of everyone around him. Is this the reward for first place? It looks like just an ordinary piece of cloth. Time for Ashiki? Luffy, what's the use of it? Luffy scratched the back of his head. The blue side moves the target's time backward, while the red side moves it forward. What does it mean? Robin thought for a moment and said uncertainly. In other words, it should be an item that can change the target's state. For example, if you cover this orange, you might be able to turn it back into a seed or into a rotten state. I just don't know if this thing can work on people. Sounds like fun. Countless stars appeared in Luffy's eyes. Before Robin could finish speaking, he grabbed the time baggage and put it over his head. Hey, wait, that's blue cloth. The next moment, in full view of everyone, Luffy turned into a child of about 7 years old. Everyone was stunned for a moment. After reacting, Nami reached out and grabbed little Luffy, pulled his face, and said with a smile, "I didn't expect that Luffy was quite cute when he was little. Hey, let me go." Little Luffy kept struggling in Nami's arms. As soon as the fist was stretched out, it collapsed softly. It seems that not only the age and appearance have changed, but also the strength has become the same as when I was 7 years old. Robin was thoughtful, and then covered little Luffy's head with the red side. Next moment, in the surprised eyes of everyone, Luffy's body grew rapidly, and a cross-shaped scar appeared on his chest. In just a short moment, he seemed to have experienced a lot. His eyes have become more mature, with inexplicable vicissitudes of life. Sabaody Archipelago was destroyed. In the battle at the top, even though he tried his best, he still saw Ace die in front of him to save himself. The daughter country, under the guidance of Pluton Rayleigh, underwent 2 years of special training, learned hockey, and developed fourth gear. The Fishman Island, befriend the Fishman Princess Shirahoshi, and foil Hody Jones' conspiracy. Dressrosa and Luo defeat Doflamingo. Cake Island, assassinate 4 emperors Charlotte Linlin with Capone Beach, and defeat Katakuri. Wanakuni, Danjian Island. Luffy stood there, feeling all this silently. The aura he exuded inadvertently made everyone feel frightened. This is the terrible sense of oppression that belongs exclusively to the Emperor of the Sea. Before they could react, they saw Luffy smiling and covering them with the baggage of time. Next moment. Oops. Zoro, why are you blind in one eye? Let me change you back. No. Although I am blind in one eye, I have never felt as strong as I do now. Huh? There's something wrong with Chopper's style of painting. He's becoming more like a tanuki. Frankie, he's so big, but he also looks more pervert. Wait, Sanji you. Sanji's eyes widened, and his 2 nostrils spurted out violent airflow like a whistle. Miss Nami and Miss Robin have become more mature and sexy, and have become bigger. Brook fell directly to the ground. Please, please show me Mirai's underwear. Bang, bang. After 2 explosions, Sanji and Brook squatted on the ground obediently, covering their heads. Simi Marseille, Kid, Luo, Bonnie, and others frowned. Although the group of people in front of me were joking, but it made them feel an indescribable feeling. Luo said in a deep voice, "This group of people has already experienced the Battle of Ghost Island and defeated the powerful beast pirates. Kid's Adam's apple is rolling. Could it be? In other words, is the 4 Emperors group standing in front of us right now?" I'm afraid so. It's really unbelievable that such a thing could happen. Bonnie stared longingly at the time-wrapped skin in Luffy's hand, lowered his head, and whispered, can I ask you for something? It must be about Big Bear. Although the bear is 7 warlords of the sea, but Luffy knew that far from being a bad guy, this guy actually helped the Straw Hat Pirates in everything. Rescue them from Kizaru during the Sabati Archipelago and travel around the world to increase their strength. During the 2 years that everyone has been practicing, they have been protecting the Sunny, until he completely lost consciousness and finally became a slave of the Celestial Dragons. Faced with Bonnie's request, Luffy agreed without hesitation. Restoring Big Bear to the unmodified state a few years ago also helped him regain his lost emotions and consciousness. The bear expressed his thanks and disappeared with Bonnie. What he wants to do most right now is to return to the Revolutionary Army headquarters and reunite with Ginny. After Luo sighed for a while, he couldn't help but ask, "What are your plans next? Are you going to New World together?" "Thank you very much this time, Luo. But let's part ways here. I want to return to Impel Down." Luo and Kid frowned when they heard this. Impel Down. Although Marine has been defeated, there is still Magellan there. You must know his strength. Luffy smiled. He is indeed strong. But now, I and everyone have become stronger. Besides, I have a reason why I have to go. Nami, Zoro, and others also reacted and said in unison, "Jinbei, that's right. Our top helmsman is still locked up there. After rescuing Jinbei, I will go to Punk Hazard to beat up Geisa, and go to Takushima to F***K Doflamingo." Luo nodded. "Okay, in that case, I'll wait for you at Dressrosa." After saying that, he couldn't help but show a look of self-deprecation on his face with the current strength of Luffy and these guys. I'm afraid New World can go sideways, right? Luo suddenly looked forward to what Luffy's battle with Doflamingo would be like in the 5th gear. At the same time, Real World. The video produced by Host was released on the pirate plane and successfully attracted widespread attention. Emotional value plus 10,000. Emotional value plus 10,000. Emotional value plus 20,000. Su Ming's mind kept hearing prompts like a screen refresh. Looking at the exaggerated numbers in the system account, I felt indescribable excitement. I actually got 1 million emotional points. It seems like this inventory video has received a pretty good response. After being overjoyed, Su Ming quickly opened the system mall and started browsing. After a while, he had an idea in his mind. In addition to physical fitness, swordsmanship, hockey, devil fruit, etc., there are also warships and cannons, and the Supreme Sharp Sword, as well as various research results of Dr. Vegapunk. For example, pacifist, automatic food machine, automatic clothing machine, weather controller. He even discovered the magical, or that appeared in the movie version, pure gold that can keep people young forever and increase their lifespan. But now he is still young and does not need to think about this for the time being. Su Ming can't wait to exchange her emotional value for a devil fruit to experience what it feels like to gain superpowers. The cost of redeeming one Zoan ranges from 100,000 to 300,000. Paramecia 300,000 to 500,000. Logia is much more expensive, costing 500,000 to 800,000. As for the fantasy beast species, the cheapest ones cost more than 1 million, etc. Strolling around, Su Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. What? You can actually exchange it for the awakened devil fruit. He rummaged around quickly. Logia Thunder Fruit, Awakening Edition. Price, 2 million, that's it. Su Ming's most desired devil fruit. Although the emotional value on hand is only half, there is no way to redeem it. But he was in no rush. This is the Xia Kingdom in the real world. In this world with constant wars, it can be said to be the safest country. Not to mention #1 in the world in terms of public security. At least ordinary people don't have to worry about being suddenly cheated on when walking on the street. And he has no enemies or enemies. The money on hand is enough for him to live for a long time. You can definitely go ahead and make videos to gain emotional value. In that case, let's take stock of another devil fruit list. You can almost exchange it for the awakened version of Thunder Fruit. So the question is, what should we take stock of? Su Ming thought silently. Since it's going to cause heat. Of course, we need to take stock of those very special and heaven-defying devil fruits. The best fruit eaters are also unknown. This should cause a huge stir. Thinking of this, Su Ming suddenly had the answer in her mind. Since the strongest, let's take stock of those unsolvable devil fruits. Su Ming immediately began to search for relevant information, looking for each famous scene. Then import the material and match it with some passionate BGM according to the scene. Debugging, editing. After working on it for who knows how long, I finally finished processing the last picture. He took a deep breath and stretched. That's pretty much it. After checking again, Su Ming felt that there was nothing wrong. Click to continue. With the video production completed, the world of pirates, which had just returned to calm, once again caused a violent sensation. Marineford. Sengoku rubbed his temples hard and kept sighing. Just now, intelligence received a distress call from Impel Down. They never expected. The Straw Hat crew just escaped and returned there again. But before the Marine fleet could dispatch, these guys showed overwhelming strength and defeated all the guards and Impel Down with overwhelming force. Under siege by everyone, not even Warden Magellan can resist. After fighting for less than a minute, they were defeated miserably. Straw Hat crew rescued former 7 warlords of the Sieging Bay. Then he grabbed a warship and flew away. Sengoku clenched his fists and couldn't help but hit the table hard. This is a disgrace to Marine. The crane on the side quickly comforted him with a few words. Although helpless, they can only accept this reality at this time. Numerous noisy exclamations suddenly came from the headquarters. What? The marquee appears again. Isn't it already done? It's a new list. Sengoku and he were startled and quickly looked up. The canopy that had disappeared for a while actually appeared again. Inventory of the top 10 devil fruits that are unsolvable. Sengoku is confused. Couldn't op fruit, dark fruit, thunder fruit, Nika fruit, etc. be called unsolvable devil fruit? Since this is a new list, there should be no duplicate devil fruit. He shook his head, frowned, and began to analyze and guess. The last one listed was powerful, but this one is unsolvable. Unbreakable means that it should be the ability to be completely destroyed once you are attacked. The ones listed next are probably more dangerous than the devil fruit that appeared on the previous list. Before Sengoku could react, another line of large characters appeared in the sky. Turn on the real-time barrage function, and everyone watching can send their thoughts to the sky screen. Barrage. Sengoku reacted instantly. Could it be those comments that appeared on the screen from time to time? The reappearance of the canopy and the 2 lines of large characters on it. It has once again attracted great attention from people around the world. It's incredible. I didn't expect to see such wonderful pictures after Laozi's death. Who are you? Laozi is the strongest pirate in the world, the man who dominates the new world. Rocks, a series of question marks suddenly floated across the sky. Well. You be asterisk D. Weren't you already dead? Rocks, Linlin. Even though I am dead, I can still see the images projected in the sky. Rocks. I didn't expect that so many strong men would appear in the future. It's a pity that I couldn't compete with them. Roger. Yes, I didn't expect that Straw Hat Boy to awaken the Nika fruit. It's really amazing. By the way, Straw Hat Boy, why does your straw hat look so familiar? Luffy. Shanks gave this to me. Roger. Shanks? That red-haired kid. Yasop. B asterisk D. What are you talking about? Our captain is now the 4 emperors, the man closest to the pirate king. Seeing the barrage floating in the sky, Sengoku and others were stunned. Rocks? Roger? Even dead people can see the screen and send barges? This canopy is so amazing. Sengoku also tried sending barges. As long as you stare at the sky, you can turn the words you silently say into a barrage. You can also choose to hide your name. Luffy, you thugs are so lawless. How dare you break into the Impel Down prison? Sooner or later, Marine will catch your factory, Shiki. What? Impel Down was captured? Rocks. To actually do such a big thing. The future life is terrifying. Sakazuki. Huh. What a bunch of incompetent idiots. Sengoku and Marine will be finished sooner or later in your hands. Sengoku. Magellan. Marshal Sengoku. I tried my best. That guy Luffy is completely unreasonable after turning on the 5th gear. And Zoro and the others are all incredibly powerful. Sakazuki, don't say sarcastic words. You are no match for them even if you come. Straw Hat finally ate the world's strongest devil fruit. Sakazuki. So what about Nika? Laozi feeds him lava. 5th gear? Sengoku's pupils shrank. The Straw Hat Boy has awakened like in the future? How can this be? Just when he was secretly frightened, the barrage was discussed in full swing. Shanks. Luffy has awakened? Is it because of the reward from heaven? Want to take stock of the most unsolvable devil fruit? Laozi's string fruit will definitely appear on this list and receive a heavenly reward. Charlotte Linlin. You arrogant brat, let's go back a little bit. My name will definitely appear on this list. Shiki. The most unsolvable one should be Laozi's lion fruit. Just when everyone was noisy, a narration suddenly appeared in the sky, counting the top 10 most unsolvable devil fruits. 10th place. Paramecia, sweet fruit, eater, Boa Hancock 7. Chapter 75. The 10th place is actually a sweet fruit. It doesn't sound very powerful, and it doesn't have anything to do with the word Wujia. But having said that, the name Boa Hancock seems a bit familiar. You don't even know her? She is the 7 warlords of the sea, known as the Pirate Empress, and the Emperor of Nine Snakes Island. It's actually her? He was secretly shocked, then shook his head and said, I have to admit, this guy is indeed a very powerful woman. Sengoku breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, he is a little scared by this list now. Although it's a pity that it's not marine, at least the 7 warlords of the sea are on their side. It would be nice to let the world see this woman's terrifying abilities. In the eyes of countless expectants, pictures began to appear in the sky. In response to the Summit War, Marine began recruiting the 7 warlords of the sea. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral Flying Squirrel arrived at Nine Snake Island on a warship. When Boa Hancock comes into the picture, everyone's eyes widened. The graceful and charming figure, the appearance that would captivate a country, his dignified and elegant temperament carries the majesty and dominance of an emperor. It's hard to look away and makes you feel comfortable. He only appeared for a second and conquered everyone instantly. After the brief shock, countless barges floated across the screen. Roger, there are such beautiful women in the world. I just want to meet her in person, Sengoku. You guys should just stay in the world of the dead. Rocks. This woman is indeed the best. In terms of appearance, she is not inferior to Glorioso at all. She is worthy of being the current 197 king of Nine Snake Island. Charlotte Linlin. Humph, she looks a bit like my mother when she was young. Shiki. Linlin, you better save it. You are just a wrinkled old woman now. Charlotte Linlin. Golden Lion. You are tired of living, right? Believe it or not, I will take the Big Mom pirates to kill you. At the same time, a serious commotion suddenly occurred among the Straw Hat pirates. Hey, Sanji, what's wrong with you? And what's with this exaggerated amount of bleeding? Chopper, no? Sanji lost too much blood and is about to die. Zoro covered his eyes speechlessly. This idiot perverted cook is really hopeless. The most powerful feature of the sweet fruit is to put the opponent into a petrified state. Fruit Skill 1. Marrow Marrow Mellow. The hands emit love-shaped light waves, and anyone who is charmed by the queen's beauty will instantly fall into a state of petrification disadvantage. If the opponent has no distracting thoughts in his mind, he will be immune to this skill. The palace on Nine Snake Island. Boa Hancock Haki sits on the emperor's throne. A Cheongsam outlines her seductive curves, showing off her perfect figure to the fullest. It's enough to make any man bleed. The narration in the canopy made Boa Hancock look a little disdainful. No matter male or female, old or young, everyone will surrender to my beauty. Peace in the heart. Humph, there is no way such a person can exist in this world. Although it is very strong, the limitation of this ability is too great. Yes, but this ability combined with the Empress's stunning appearance is simply an unstoppable killer weapon. You don't even need to use your hands. You can instantly defeat ordinary sailors. In the screen, the sailors on the warship deck have turned into stone statues. Flying Squirrel Vice Admiral knelt on the ground sweating profusely to stay sane. He even stabbed his own palm with the short sword. This scene shocked everyone instantly. Can't even the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral resist the charm of that woman? If she wants to take action, she can kill these Marines without any effort. What a terrifying ability, Sakazuki. As a dignified Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, to be made so embarrassed by a woman is really a disgrace to Marine. Sanji, Sister Empress, I want to be your dog. At this moment, countless question marks floated past. Everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates were also speechless. Nami was furious and beat Sanji hard until his head was full of bruises. Cole, don't say you know me when you go out next time. Hawkeye. After all, it is 7 warlords of the sea, so it is not a problem to deal with a mere Marine Vice Admiral, Doflamingo. That's right. If you don't even have this ability, you'd better quit quickly and go to our face factory, Kaido. Huh. So what about Vice Admiral? It just shows that Marine's willpower is too weak. A truly strong person will not be disturbed by these boring things. Charlotte Linlin. Not bad. This kind of trick has no effect on me at all. No matter how beautiful you are, it will only make me feel unhappy. Boa. Hancock Sad Face 1. Soon, you 4 emperors will be killed by those supernovas. Instead of posting barges here when you have time, it's better to think about how to deal with them. Charlotte Linlin. Very arrogant little girl. Boa Hancock. Mary Ahua, Panga City. This fruit should increase the charm of the eater. Otherwise, such an exaggerated effect would not be possible. That's right. No matter how beautiful a woman is, she can't be so beautiful that it makes people lose their mind. Don't worry, a strong person at the Admiral level should be able to resist such a charm. Having said that, it is inevitable that you will be disturbed during the battle, which which will affect your performance. The 5 elders sighed softly. Even they have to admit that Tian Fruit's ability is indeed powerful. At least for most men, when the Empress cooperates with this ability, she is almost invincible. Damn it, we celestial dragons have countless powerful devil fruits in our hands. But those guys don't pay attention at all. Saint Nashalang couldn't help but sigh. There's nothing we can do about it. After all, there are Marine, CPO, Knights of God, and countless guards protecting Mariewa's safety. They will not encounter any danger at all, let alone fight. Even devil fruit, which is coveted by ordinary people, is just like garbage in their eyes. In addition to her beauty, the Empress can also actively petrify targets that are not charmed, including non-living things, melee skill, perfume femur, remote skills, kiss gun, prisoner's arrow. Along with the narration, the scene suddenly changed and came to the battle on the top. After watching for a while, everyone suddenly realized something was wrong. Wait, isn't she with Marine? Why is she attacking indiscriminately? This B************* D actually attacks his own people indiscriminately? The Straw Hat Pirates. Nami couldn't help but wonder. Hey, why do I feel like this woman seems to be paying attention to Luffy's appearance? Robin nodded, confirming her guess. Yes, although I don't know why, this Empress is indeed helping Luffy. After seeing Hancock kick Smoker away, everyone was dumbfounded. Sanji, whose head was covered with bruises, suddenly jumped up from the ground. He grabbed Luffy by the collar, his face twisted with jealousy. Hey Luffy, tell me quickly, what is going on? When did you meet that beautiful elder sister? Luffy smiled nonchalantly and said, That's right. The bear photographed me on 9 Snake Island. Hancock is a very nice guy, and he helped me a lot. Later during the 2-year special training, she also prepared food and drinks for me every day. Sanji's mouth opened wide after hearing this, and he didn't even notice that the cigarette in his mouth fell. What did you say? You have been staying with this beautiful elder sister for the past 2 years. That's right. Sanji's mentality exploded instantly. UB******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** 2 years? He is hunted down by a group of transvestites every day. Damn bear, Lousy is going to kill you. 9 Snake Island. Gloriosa, who was on crutches, was also stunned. I always have a cold look on my face. The Empress, who is so arrogant that no one takes her seriously, is actually attracted to a man. Sandersonia and Marigold looked at each other. They had never seen their sister act so gloomy. Boa Hancock also frowned. In the end, what happened? Why would she be so attentive in front of that guy in the future? But after seeing each other's appearance clearly, the two sisters couldn't help but exclaimed, "It's him. The number 1 on the strongest list, the Straw Hat Boy who defeated Kaido." Gloriosa nodded secretly. That's no wonder. I'm afraid this man is the only one worthy of Hancock. In the picture, Boa Hancock's figure keeps shuttling on the battlefield. Whether it's Marine, pirate, anyone who was kicked by her was turned into a stone statue without exception. If you rub it, you will be injured. If you touch it, you will die. From time to time, Hancock will blow a kiss and materialize it, then draw it like a bow and shoot arrows all over the sky. Large tracts harvested the battlefield. For the 7 warlords of the sea, even in the Summit War where masters gathered, you can still do whatever you want and do whatever you want. Sengoku couldn't help but clenched his fists. Whose side is this woman on? She killed several pacifists in an instant. This is Marine's latest combat weapon. Not only is it expensive, but its combat power is also quite impressive. Can easily kill pirates with a bounty of less than 100 million. But in front of this Empress, she was like a pile of scrap metal. Even if you can withstand the charm of this woman, you still can't avoid being petrochemical workers. Even emotionless pacifists have turned into stone. Isn't this too heaven-defying? Rocks, aside from her beauty, this woman's strength is also quite good. Roger, not bad. This guy has good physical skills, and hockey is also pretty good. Shanks. As long as you are touched by her or shot by these arrows, the part hit will be petrified. It can be said to be a very dangerous ability. Teach. Ha! It is indeed a very powerful paramecia. Blackbeard saw this barrage floating in the sky. Sengoku suddenly frowned. Blackbeard, you're already dead, so you're just looking at me honestly. What else are you planning to do? Teach, dead? Lousy does not die so easily. Everyone in Marine's eyes shrank. That explosion sank the entire Sabaody archipelago, but it failed to kill Blackbeard. Son, to tell you the truth, Lousy is bound to win this sweet fruit. Are you serious? When I think of Blackbeard winking and making love gestures while saying, "Ha, meha, 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 meha," Sengoku felt a chill all over his body. Shit, there's something dirty. I can't bear to look at it. You don't want so many powerful fruits. Do you want this? Marine, catch this guy quickly, Mariewa. The faces of the 5 elders suddenly darkened. Blackbeard is still alive. Why did he want this sweet fruit? Could it be for subordinates to use? The 5 elders with short blonde hair shook their heads. No, I'm afraid the sweet fruit still hides some unknown secrets. After all, it is the only twin fruit among all devil fruits. Amid everyone's puzzled looks, he took out the devil fruit illustrated book and turned to the page of sweet fruits. 2 heart-shaped sakura peach-shaped fruits are connected under the green vine. Point 3.0 are pink, and the other one is dark purple. Heart-shaped patterns are evenly distributed on the smooth surface of the fruit. In addition to the ability to charm and petrify, sweet fruit should also have another hidden ability. This ability is even more difficult. Perhaps the Empress has not yet developed it. Maybe Blackbeard also knows the secret hidden in it. Only in this way can we explain why he had the idea of obtaining this fruit. Everyone nodded slightly. That's right. Charm is completely useless to Blackbeard, and he is an extremely dangerous careerist, so naturally he will not do useless things. It's very possible that, as you said, this sweet fruit also has unknown abilities. After thinking for a while, Saint Nazho Lang said in a cold tone, So, do you want to recycle it? Through the previous list, 5 elders understood one thing. Even if they are left unused, these dangerous fruits cannot be allowed to wander outside. That's not right. All the people on Nine Snakes Island are soldiers, and almost everyone knows hockey. And that woman can't be killed easily. What are you afraid of? Just let Fujitora take action. While the 5 elders were discussing, the scene in the canopy changed again. After seeing the person in the screen, everyone was confused. Except for Luffy, Luo, Empress, Buggy, and Crocodile. Marine Smoker, Government Agent Rob Lucci, even Sabo from the Revolutionary Army came here. Although they belong to different camps, they stand side by side at this moment. They all looked at a giant monster thousands of meters high in the distance. Chapter 76. Rob Lucci and Marine, why are they staying with these pirates? Sabo, the second in command of the Revolutionary Army, is also involved. The 5 elders were suddenly confused. I have absolutely no idea what is going on. At the same time, there were also many barges floating on the screen. Roxo, is the big melee about to begin? Doflamingo, guys from various forces have gathered together. Could it be that some big event will happen in the future? Roger, looking at them like this, it's not so much fighting, but rather joining forces to deal with the monster in the distance. After seeing Roger's comments, the 5 elders then turned their attention to the distance. It was a huge thing that was higher than the mountain peak and almost covered the sky and the sun. After observing for a while, everyone gasped. Wait a minute, that's not a mountain. That thing is moving. It's still getting bigger. Are you kidding me? What kind of monster is this? Just looking at it from a distance, you can feel a strong sense of oppression. Luffy, Rob Lucci, and others in the picture are as small as ants in front of it. After hearing the communication plan between Luffy and others on the screen, people all over the world were in an uproar. People from the 4 camps of Marine, Pirates, Revolutionary Army, and World Government actually planned to join forces. Bullet? Is that the monster's name? Crocodile, are you kidding? How could Lousy join forces with Straw Hat Luffy in the future? Rayleigh, it wouldn't be surprising if it was to deal with him. After all, this guy's strength was as good as my own back then. Roger. Bullet, I didn't expect that you would make a mess in the sea in the future. Bullet, what's the point of dealing with these rotten fish and shrimps? The person Lousy really wants to defeat is you. Roger. Magellan, stop talking in your sleep and just stay on the 6th floor of Impel Down. Buggy, huh? Why did I appear there? Lousy didn't want to fight Bullet, a monster like this. Roger. Haha, Buggy. You and the red-haired kid were both interns on the Lousy ship back then. After so many years, you must have grown into strong men in your own right. Buggy. I'm not. I don't have it. Don't talk nonsense. After seeing Roger's comments, there was an uproar in Impel Down. What? Buggy the Clown is actually a crew member of One Piece. Magellan. Move this guy to the 6th floor immediately. Sengoku stood up abruptly from his seat. It turned out to be him. Douglas Bullet. This complete fighting maniac. The Buster Call 11 years ago is still unforgettable to him. Since Roger's death, Bullet has gone on a rampage, turning the entire sea upside down. Marine had no choice but to launch a Buster Call. It was he and Garp who were leading the team at the time. But Bullet fought them hard by himself. Until the physical strength is gradually exhausted, the pirates he had defeated before also took the opportunity to launch a surprise attack. He teamed up with Marine to defeat this monster. He is also the second person after Rocks to enjoy this treatment. This guy is a veritable monster, and his strength is by no means weaker than Kaido. I didn't expect that the future would also escape from prison. People all over the world are staring at the sky with great concern. In the picture, the two sides were engaged in a fierce battle. Under such a terrifying size, there is unimaginable terrifying power. You can create a hurricane with just a swipe of your hand. A single punch can have tens of millions of tons of power. The countless cannonballs fired by Marine hit his body like a stone sinking into the sea, unable to cause any damage at all. Especially when everyone saw Luffy in gear for being slapped and sent flying thousands of meters away. Countless exclamations suddenly erupted from all over the world. Hey, are you right? Even Straw Hat is no match for you. Kaido, you killed the 4th level Luffy so easily? Bullet, you have some strength. Bullet. Huh. If you can be defeated by this kind of waste, do you deserve to be called the Pirate Emperor? Kaido, oh, you seem to have a misunderstanding about Laozi's strength. You are impelled down, right? Laozi will come find you right now. Bullet, really? Are you coming to find Laozi? Interesting. It just so happens that training alone every day is quite boring. Let Laozi feel what the so-called strongest creature in the world is like. Watching the two people sending barges and talking unscrupulously. The 5 elders were furious. He quickly issued emergency orders to Marine and impelled down. Satan's Saint, Kaido, you'd better be honest. Impelled down is not a place where you can come and leave whenever you want. Kaido, since Straw Hat can do it, Laozi can do it too. Just wait. Laozi will soon destroy the progress, Satan's Saint. Huh. You are asking for death. Rocks. TSK, TSK, TSK. Are you in a hurry? Satan's Saint. Shut up. You, a loser from the old era, have no right to speak. After seeing the barrage sent by Kaido, Sengoku's face turned pale. An alarm suddenly sounded over Marineford. Countless warships set off from the port and rushed towards Impelled Down. Just when Rocks and Sartain were yelling at each other in the barrage, in the screen, a beautiful figure galloped in the direction of Bullet. It was so fast that it was almost hard to see. But in just a short moment, this figure spans thousands of meters, come to the body of a huge monster. Wait, that's Pirate Empress, Boa, Hancock. She rushed forward, in front of Bullet. This woman is as insignificant as an ant, so what's the use of rushing forward? Does she want to activate her charm ability to turn the opponent to stone? Are you kidding? Bullet has almost merged with the entire island and is almost invincible. In the eyes of countless people, Boa Hancock in the picture is extremely angry. How dare you hurt the person I love most? I can't forgive you. I can't spare you. Take your life. Big perfume femur. Accompanied by bursts of loud shouts, he kicked out hard. Boom. Suddenly, there was an earth-shaking loud noise. Bullet, which is thousands of meters high and like a mountain, shook violently. Countless boulders exploded and turned into debris all over the sky. The whole body almost collapsed. After seeing this scene, everyone was stunned and speechless for a long time. After a while, countless barges passed by like a swipe on the screen. What? This monster that couldn't even break through Buster Call was almost kicked out? How is this possible? She can break a mountain with this kick, right? What a fierce and domineering blow. Is this also the power of Sweet Fruit? Roger, this guy perfectly combines fruit abilities with hockey, so he has such terrifying power. What a powerful blow. Sanji looked serious and murmured. He is a master who focuses on kicking skills, and he is also the strong man who defeated Quinn in the battle on Onigashima. But after seeing the Empress's kick, I was still shocked. The force, angle, and timing of this blow were just right. And it's white, long, round, and straight. It can be played for a year, no, 10 years. As he spoke, Sanji's eyes curled up. The expression on his face also became extremely vulgar. Sanji, I really want to be trampled under my feet by the long legs of the Empress sister. Hey, here we go again. This person is poisonous, right? Is the sweet fruit so powerful? Even the main force of the Straw Hat Pirates has fallen like this. I harvested a licking dog without even meeting him. What a terrible fruit. This time not only Nami, but also Robin couldn't stand it anymore. Bang, bang. After 2 explosions, Sanji fell heavily to the ground with a nosebleed. The two rubbed their fists angrily. This guy is really hopeless. Having said that, but even as women, they had to marvel at the Empress's amazing charm. Robin covered her mouth and smiled. After seeing Luffy injured, this guy actually burst out with such amazing power. Is this the magic of love? Nami couldn't help but sigh. I didn't expect that the Empress who could charm thousands of people would actually fall in love with Luffy, who is as wooden as a tree. I really don't know what I like about this guy. Mary Ahua, Panga City. After seeing the Empress' shocking kick, the 5 elders frowned. The blonde, short-haired 5 elders suddenly said, "Forget it. Let's give up on recycling sweet fruits." Facing the confused eyes of others, he slowly explained. Although this fruit is very dangerous, the relationship between the Empress and the Straw Hat Boy is very close. If we attack her, I am afraid it will cause a strong reaction from the Straw Hat Pirates. Besides, you have seen her strength. Even if Fujitora can win, I'm afraid she will have to pay a heavy price. Everyone nodded silently. Now that Marine's strength has been greatly reduced, there is really no need to take this risk. Although the Empress was a bit messy and even attacked friendly forces in Summit War, but at least they are not openly enemies of their world government. That's enough. Following the Empress attack, the scene in the sky gradually darkened. A solemn voice suddenly sounded in everyone's mind. Top 10 Unsolvable Devil Fruits. 10th place. Paramecia, Sweet Fruit. Eater, Boa, Hancock. Tiandao rewards are being distributed. Upgraded to Zoan Phantom Beast Species, Snake Fruit Medusa Form. Listen to the voice that suddenly appears in your head. The 5 elders were stunned, and then sighed helplessly. Sweet Fruit has been upgraded to a fantasy beast species? Can it even do such a thing? Maybe others don't know how powerful the Phantom Beast species is, but they are very familiar with it. Not only does it have an exaggerated increase in physical strength, but it can also use a variety of powerful abilities. For example, Kaido, in addition to being able to transform into a giant dragon, can also control the forces of nature such as wind, fire, thunder, and lightning at will. The Empress is already so strong, and now she has this phantom beast added to her. Her strength might reach the level of the 4 emperors. After the frustration, the 5 elders regained their confidence. It goes without saying that the magic of heaven is amazing, but this may not be all bad for us. After all, this is only the 10th place. Yes, there will definitely be people with marine and world government abilities on the subsequent lists. 503 Kaido. Hello, woman. Instead of being the lackeys of the world government, why don't we be beasts pirates? 1. You have good strength. You also have Conqueror's Haki, and now you have become a phantom beast type user. As long as you come, Lousy will give you the position of second in command of beasts pirates. Boa, Hancock. You are destined to be a stepping stone for others, and you still want to be my boss. Sorry, you don't have the qualifications, Kaido. Women, don't know how to flatter yourself. Luffy. Kaido, just wait for me. I will come to New World soon to fight you off and liberate Wanakuni. Kaido. Straw Hat Boy, if you have the guts, come and do it. Doflamingo. Is the 10th place count finally over? It's Lousy's turn next, right? Moria. Lousy's Shadow Fruit is the most unsolvable ability. Charlotte Lin. Well, you little devils, just shut up. I can extract the lifespan and soul of others. The most unexplainable thing is of course the soul fruit. Roger, I really don't understand what you people think. Haki is the only one with the power to overpower everything. Shanks. +1. Just as everyone was talking about it. A line of narration appeared again in the sky. Top 10 Unsolvable Devil Fruits. 9th place. Paramecia, Ghost Fruit. Eater, Perona. After seeing these lines of narration, the crowd that had just calmed down started arguing again. Countless barges flew by. Is it Paramecia again, Ghost Fruit? Never heard of it. Is it scary to become a ghost? Have I strayed from the times? Who is Perona? I don't know. I guess he's just an unknown person. Moria. You didn't expect that Perona is Lousy's subordinate. Doflamingo. Huh. The loser's subordinate is probably also a loser. The faces of the Straw Hat Pirates changed. Zoro couldn't help but cover his face. Damn it, it's her. Seeing everyone's appearance, Jinbei suddenly felt curious. Although it's unclear why they went out of their way to break into Impel Down to rescue themselves. But one thing is certain, the strength of the group of people in front of them was terrifying. He defeated all the Impel Down guards along the way, and killed Magellan in just a few moves. In terms of strength, they are no weaker than the Big Mom Pirates. They would actually have such a big reaction to the name Perona. There is even a hint of fear in his eyes. Jinbei couldn't help but ask, what? Is this guy named Perona scary? Chapter 77. What? Is this guy named Perona scary? Faced with Jinbei's doubts, Sanji slowly exhaled a puff of smoke. Not only is she not scary, she is actually a cute little loli. Jinbei scratched the back of his head, looking confused. Then why? You'll find out later. Zoro seemed to have thought of some bad memory. His face became extremely pale. Don't ask, he is a very irritating guy anyway. A narration introduction began to appear in the marquee. Ghost Fruit Ability 1. Create a ghost clone. When the ability is activated, multiple ghosts can be released from the body, which can cause the victim to explode with negative energy and become extremely depressed. Disadvantages. Ineffective for people who are already very negative. After seeing these lines of description about abilities, people around the world fell silent. Hey, did I read that right? It makes people feel depressed? What kind of ability is this? The words complete and unsolvable are not the same words. This boring devil fruit can also be ranked 9th? Are you sure? It doesn't work for people who are already very negative? Is this its shortcoming? It's so funny. If you ask me, the biggest drawback of this fruit is that it is too weak. Naval Headquarters. Report. The Intelligence Department has not found a reward for the target, nor has it found any relevant information. No. Sengoku frowned slightly and couldn't help but look to his side. Xiaohua, what do you think? He said calmly. Whether it is the previous list of the strongest fruits or this list that is said to have no solution, the people who can appear on it are not unknown people. Even in Sky Island, Enel is unknown to the world. It is also a powerful existence that can be called a god there. Sengoku mused. You mean? There are only 2 possibilities. He analyzed seriously. 1. Either this list is wrong. This is just an ordinary paramecia. 2. This fruit is very powerful enough to rank above the Empress's sweet fruit. Sengoku said solemnly. Ignore the first situation for now. If it's the second scenario, it's impossible no matter how you think about it. Is the ability to make people negative really useful? Sengoku isn't the only one who thinks so. The same goes for the barrage that keeps passing through the screen. Rocks. Does it make people negative? People who can be called strong do not have strong will and belief. This kind of trick can only be played on ordinary people. Roger. Not bad. Negativity alone cannot defeat the strong. Moria. That's because you haven't seen the power of Perona yet. You'll know you're wrong when you get tricked. Doflamingo. Do you, a loser like you, know what a strong person is? Moria. Humph. Back then Lousy was also a West Blue hero, and when he dominated the New World, you didn't know where to drink milk. Doflamingo. Wasn't he completely wiped out by Kaido? I heard that you have been staying in the Terror Triangle for these years to hunt the weak, and you have become a fat boy, just as the two were yelling at each other. A picture appeared in the sky. Luffy ran around the castle, constantly dodging the pursuers behind him. A girl with pink twintails and a pink umbrella suddenly stopped in front of Luffy. Why is it that Straw Hat is everywhere, making him look like the protagonist, Charlotte Linlin? I asked why I couldn't remember Perona's name. It turns out she was just a brat. Doflamingo. Moria, are all your men like this? Shanks. Look at this. That girl is going to attack Luffy. This is an interesting thing. Ace. How could she be Luffy's opponent? Before heading to the Devil's Triangle, Luffy had already killed Enel, Rob Lucci, a big pirate with a bounty of 300 million belly. Vivi. Don't forget, there is also Shichibukai Crocodile. Crocodile? Charlotte Linlin. After all, this guy ate the Nika fruit. Not to mention this brat. Not even Moria can be his opponent. The barrage keeps scrolling. Everyone was still talking about it. Perona on the screen has already activated her ability. I saw 2 ghosts flying out of her body and quickly passed through Luffy's body. Luffy was jumping up and down a second ago, shouting that he wanted to become the Pirate King. The next second he was lying on the ground like a dead fish. He said weakly, I want to be a sea cucumber. Luffy, who had completely lost his fighting spirit, refused to resist. A group of zombie soldiers were carried to Moria. After seeing this, the barrage that filled the screen disappeared instantly. Everyone was dumbfounded. Is this still the strong man who will defeat 4 Emperors Kaido in the future? Is this a man who has awakened the sun god Nika in the future and aspires to become the Pirate King? Become a sea cucumber? This is simply a joke. Shanks, what's going on? Why did Luffy suddenly become so hopeless that he didn't even resist? Kaido, with that kid's willpower, he actually said such cowardly words. Are you kidding me? Beckman, it should be caused by that girl's ability. Yasop, is this the ghost fruit? It's really an exaggerated ability. Luo, it's hard to say. Luffy is an undistinguished guy. Don't forget how he looked when he was fighting Kaido. After seeing Luo's barrage, everyone nodded in agreement. No matter how strong Luffy is, it can't change the fact that he is a joke. No matter what ridiculous thing he does, it seems unsurprising. With this in mind, everyone turned their attention back to the sky screen. After Luffy was captured by Moria, Zoro, Sanji, Frankie, and Usopp also rushed into the castle, encountered Perona unexpectedly. Just when everyone thought it was a one-sided battle, Perona suddenly activated her fruit power. Several ghosts passed through the bodies of the 4 people. Next moment, a shocking scene happened. Sanji bowed his head deeply. I'm worse than a mackerel. I'll just die. Zoro knelt on the ground with his hands on the ground. I'm really sorry for living on the same land as everyone. Frankie burst into tears. Yes, let the wild dogs trample me to death. Looking at their extremely decadent looks and listening to their words, there was an uproar around the world. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Hey, what's going on? Not only Luffy, but also the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates were kneeling on the ground, saying such ridiculous stupid things. In the future, they are the strong ones who defeated the Beast Pirates. How could they be so unbearable? It should be that the Ghost Fruit's ability has taken effect. They are now full of negative emotions. No, this ability is too great, right? Moria, did you see it? These are Lousy's men, Cricana Island. In a gloomy old castle, a sweet laughter like wind chimes came. Perona was floating around in the air, looking quite proud. Did you see it? This is the strength of this princess. Humph, those idiots dared to look down on me before. The eagle's eyes stared blankly at the sky. His hawk-like eyes were full of surprise. Not long ago, this girl suddenly appeared here inexplicably, but he didn't care much. Living alone is always lonely, so it would be nice to have someone to cook and talk to. What Hawkeye didn't expect was that this arrogant and troubled girl actually has such heaven-defying abilities. He couldn't forget the duel with Zoro when he was in East Blue, facing myself, the world's greatest swordsman. Zoro was obviously still very weak, but he never showed the slightest hint of timidity. He also made bold statements and determined to surpass himself. But he is such a determined guy, but he knelt on the ground so dejectedly and said such words about the garden. Marineford, Sengoku, Crane, Fujitora, and Green Bull looked at the sky, their expressions slowly becoming serious. Even Kizaru, who has always been careless and doesn't take anything to heart, he also looked serious at this time. This kind of performance is no longer something that can be countered by willpower. Sengoku couldn't help but sigh. It really makes sense to be ranked above sweet fruits. If the Empress wants to petrify her opponent, there are two necessary conditions. 1. Surrender to the charm of the other person. However, judging from the flying squirrel's performance, it can resist the charm effect through strong willpower or self-mutilation. Second, he was directly hit by the Empress attack. As long as you have observation hockey, it's not difficult to do this. No matter how bad it is, you can still attack from a distance. But how to defend against this ghost? Not only is it fast, it also has the ability to be immune to physical attacks, flight, and penetration. If you are unfortunate enough to be attacked, you will lose your combat effectiveness in an instant. At that time, you can only be at the mercy of others, and it will be no different from death. Mary Ahua, Panga City. The 5 elders looked at the sky and frowned. What's going on with this ability? She's obviously a helpless little girl, but she can defeat the Straw Hat Pirates in an instant. It seems that this so-called negative ghost can ignore the strength gap between the two sides, and it seems to have nothing to do with willpower. Good. Is it true, as the narrator said before, that only people who are born with extreme pessimism are immune to this effect? The 5 elders were speechless for a while. Be pessimistic about everything and don't even believe in yourself. Let's not talk about whether there is such a person. Even if there were, it would be useless waste. In that case, wouldn't this fruit be invincible? Everyone nodded. Such an effect can be achieved in the hands of such a weak person, not to mention in the hands of strong men like the Knights of God. If the fruit's ability is further developed and even awakened, it's unimaginable. No matter what, it's only right that the heaven-defying devil fruit is back in our hands. Since this guy is Moria's subordinate, it's easy to say. Give Moria a direct order to hand over Perona. If he doesn't agree, prepare for Marine's Buster Call. In addition to spiritual attacks, people with abilities can also turn ghosts into bombs. Ghosts have no entity, cannot be blocked, cannot get rid of, and can theoretically explode in other people's bodies. It is also an ideal reconnaissance tile. Along with the narration, everyone stopped discussing and turned their attention to the picture again. Next moment, they all showed puzzled expressions. Under attack from the ghost of negativity, Zoro Sanji Frankie was already lying on the ground, completely losing his fighting ability. And Usopp seemed completely fine.
If you're enjoying the story so far and want to hear the next parts, don't forget to like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And if you'd like me to continue the series, drop a comment below letting me know. Your feedback and support keep these audiobooks going strong. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.